Happy Friday, everyone, and welcome to the AM show on Joy News. It's our absolute pleasure to do this for you and with you. Now, it's just 29 more days to go for the 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections, and you want to trust us, your election headquarters, to keep you up to speed in the lead up to the December 7th polls. Now, this morning, of course, we start by serving you the AM news, the latest updates in everything happening in and around the country. And after that, we'll sit with our guests to review the newspapers and the stories in there that resonates with you and me. So we have Nanaya Sapong, who is the political assistant to... We also have Afenyo-Markin, former GJA president. He'll be joining us, and Andrew Apia-Dankwa, legal practitioner and a leading member of the Movement for Change, rather, not Nanaya Sapong. But Nanaya Sapong will also join us, and he is a political assistant to Alan Tremanting. Three gentlemen joining us to review the newspapers. Now, today is a Friday, so of course, Benjamin Akakpo will be sharing his blunt thoughts with you. You don't want to miss that. What are we doing for our big stories this morning? We are going to the heart of Accra, and it's the diversity and cosmopolitan nature of that place that has made it a hotbed for politics, with the police flagging it as one of the flashpoints for electoral violence in the last elections. I'm talking about the Ododo constituency, and this morning we'll take you there live to gauge the mood of constituents a month to the 2024 general elections. And then after that, Lois Shola-Adeyemi, I know you haven't seen her on the AM show for a while. We'll be speaking to some prospective first-time voters at the Kwame Nkrumah Circle who are uncertain to participate in the upcoming elections. Why is that? All the details coming up in our latest episode of Just Turned 18 with Lois Shola-Adeyemi. There are so many other conversations coming your way this morning. You want to stay with us, but you can join the conversations as usual via social media. We are Joy News on TV across all platforms. And hopefully today being a Friday, we can open the phone lines at the tail end of the show so you get to have your say. Welcome aboard. Let's start with the AM news now. Thanks for your time here on the AM show. This is the AM news. Let's get into the details. Majority Leader Alexander Afenyo-Markin has accused Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin of supervising chaos and lawlessness in the House. And this follows another indefinite adjournment of the Speaker by the Speaker after the two NPP MPs who requested an emergency sitting failed to show up in the chamber. The opposition NDC says their colleagues on the NPP side have caused financial loss to the state. Our Parliamentary Affairs correspondent, Kweku Asante, reports.
It's been another chaotic day in Parliament. The Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, has once more indefinitely adjourned Parliament. NPP MPs who recalled Parliament to sit on urgent government business did not show up in the chamber, forcing the Speaker to say the House again lacked the quorum to take decisions and has adjourned proceedings. When the Speaker of Parliament walked in, it was only the NDC MPs who were seated on the majority side. Early on, they had come in their numbers and taken over the right-hand side of the Speaker, and they were not going to leave. The minority pews were empty. The Speaker consequently made a declaration that because the House is only constituted by a number that has not formed the correct decision making in the House, he's adjourning the House.
Unfortunately, the signatories who made the request have not shown up, and therefore matters that they wanted us to handle, which are admitted for the consideration of the business committee, are not on the order paper, and in fact there's no order paper for today because the business committee could not meet due to the absence of the people who requested for the recall. It is not advisable to be adjourning from day to day. And so I'll proceed once more to adjourn the meeting indefinitely. And the meeting, this extraordinary meeting, is accordingly adjourned.
But Katie Hammond, the Member of Parliament for Adansi Asokwa, says the Speaker of Parliament is actually in contempt of court.
So even if he had 99, which is 1/3 of what to form the quorum, it was for the Speaker to make the announcement in the House that his ruling has been stayed, has been overset. Accordingly, minority back to where you were, majority back to where you have been. That is the simplest solution. Now the orders of the Supreme Court were directed specifically to the Speaker. It was the Speaker. It wasn't the leadership. It wasn't the clerk. It wasn't the leadership which made that ruling, that decision. It was the Speaker of Parliament who unconstitutionally made a proclamation, whatever it is that he said the last time. The Supreme Court has told him that he was wrong. Restore matters to what they were before you did that.
Line of action for the MPP.
Well, we will cite him for contempt. We will cite the Speaker for contempt. Watch the space.
We have subsequently now heard from the leader of the MPP group in Parliament, Alexander Afenyo-Markin, who is saying they will recall Parliament, but ultimately taking on the Speaker for the way and manner he ordered affairs in Parliament today.
If he claims that what he did was a formal communication in response to a statement from the minority leader, then why is he supervising chaos in the House? What Mr. Speaker did today amount to supervising chaos and bringing the image of democracy to disrepute.
Member of Parliament for Doma East, Paul Chumberima, says he's disappointed in the 8th Parliament and how things have panned.
Ghanaians didn't vote for us to come and do this. Doma East people didn't vote for Paul Chumberima to come, and by the time I get to chamber, they said they've adjourned. And it cannot go on like this. It is clearly totally unacceptable. And I think the 8th Parliament we must sit up and live up to expectation. It's clearly, it is quite unfortunate. It's very, very unfortunate. But I think we need to live up to expectation because this is not what Ghanaians are expecting from us.
We are now waiting to see what exactly the NPP MPs will do. Are they going to trigger the Constitution and the standing orders to recall Parliament, or they are going to further engage? Mind you, we have barely 2-3 weeks to the December election, and there's a lot of outstanding business, including the vote on account that will cater for the first quarter of 2025. Reporting for Joy News, Kweku Asante, Parliament House, Accra.
All that went down yesterday, but moving on, in an attempt to reduce revenue losses, the Ghana Water Company, in partnership with the Danish utility Aarhus Vand, has launched a leak detection field at the Ghana Water Training Institute. And this new facility aims to train the company's staff in identifying and addressing pipeline leaks, which will reduce the company's physical losses of loss of water from 48%. My colleague, Collins Frimpong, has more in this report.
The Ghana Water Company Limited reports that approximately 48% of total water produced across all urban water systems valued at 1.8 billion Ghana cedis is lost yearly due to pipeline leakages. The leak detection field, which has been launched in partnership with the Danish Embassy in Ghana, will train the water company staff and equip them to detect and address pipeline leakages throughout its infrastructure in a timely manner. Speaking to Joy News, Managing Director of the Ghana Water Company Limited, Dr. Clifford Brimer, noted that the leak detection field would improve the company's water supply.
Because if you look at the current average tariff we have, it's about 12 cedis per cubic meter. And if you are losing 48% of 324 million cubic meters a year, so you multiply what you get by the 12 cedis, and that gives you about 1.89 billion Ghana cedis. What it means is that if we are able to detect the leakage, and then we prevent the leakage, that is, we repair where the leakage is, the volume of water that would have been going into the soil or going waste will come back into the system. And so if we were supplying probably 100 liters of water into the system, and we recover even 10%, we would have been doing about 110. So that 10 that you have recovered will give additional water to people.
The Danish ambassador to Ghana, His Excellency Tom Noring, also noted the need to provide safe drinking water for consumers as the reason behind the partnership.
You have something that I had never seen before I came to Ghana, sachet water, which I think is, if it's not 10, it's probably more times as expensive. That's the kind of solutions you're left with. Or as you mentioned, yes, water brought out, but not necessarily clean. That's not a good solution. You don't know what happened in that transportation on the way to the customers, to the users. So very, very important to have clean and affordable drinking water.
The leakage detection field will train the company's engineers and technicians at all levels to spot leakages and improve volumes of water supply. Joy News' Collins Frimpone's report read to you.
Let's get into our election headquarters. And Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has officially launched Ghana's credit score system aimed at transforming the country's financial economy by providing lenders with adequate and reliable data on borrowers. Now, the Vice President in his address said the new system will reduce the rate of non-performing loans and improve equal access to the financial market. Dr. Bawumia expressed optimism that the new credit score will benefit small and medium businesses. And there's more in this report.
The credit assessment framework aims to enhance our financial institutions, evaluate credit worthiness, expanding access to loans and financial services essential for both personal and business growth in Ghana. At the launch, Dr. Bawumia expressed optimism, noting that this framework would improve access to Ghana's financial market and contribute significantly to the economy growth.
Results from the My Credit Score pilot demonstrate a stark improvement, achieving an NPL ratio of less than 4%, a remarkable contrast to the national average. By enabling a fairer and more consistent evaluation of credit worthiness, My Credit Score is expected to reduce defaults significantly, strengthen confidence among financial institutions, and expand access to credit for individuals and businesses alike. The initiative reflects a broader commitment to sustainable economic growth, where financial stability and trust in credit practices play foundational roles.
CEO of Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications endorsed the system.
What this would do is that it would open up the whole informal sector as well. People who in the past were not able to get access to credit would be able to get access to credit.
John Ewa, CEO of the Ghana Association of Bankers, highlighted that the new system will boost banks' confidence in lending.
We get asked as banks that, oh, why am I having this high interest rate? Why is my credit delaying? Why is the default rate so high? It is because banks do not have any means of having a full view of your credit exposure within the financial architecture or financial system. What this credit score does is moving one big step forward, away from just reporting of credit or reporting of your credit status to giving us a number that enables us or tells us where you stand in terms of your reliability metric.
Augustine Ajay, board chairman of My Credit Score, reported positive outcome from the pilot test of the framework.
A credit bureau is that institution that is licensed to give lenders that confidence. So the number you can, another way to look at that number is how confident a lender will be able to trust that when I give you these goods and services, you are going to pay back on time and also in full, so that others benefit, because it's a social thing, right? When you're able to expand and grow and then fulfill your financial obligations where you have gone in for a loan or other financial instrument, you're able to we're able to pay back.
The launch event brought together government officials, international partners, and financial sector stakeholders to support this initiative for Ghana's economic advancement.
The flag bearer of the Movement for Change, Alan Kojo-Kyerematen, has pledged to turn the 5 regions of the North into the food baskets of the West African sub-region. He said these regions are predominantly agriculture-based, adding that what needs to be done is to value the crops cultivated to make it easy to export. The flag bearer said this when he paid a courtesy call on the Kugbegu Na as part of his campaign of the Northern region.
The flag bearer of the Movement for Change, John Alan Kojo-Kyerematen, is on a 4-day tour of the Northern region to canvass votes ahead of the December polls. Mr. Kyerematen and his team paid courtesy calls on the Bukwena, the Dakwema, the Bugulana, the Sanarina, among other chiefs in the Tamale metropolis. Speaking at the Bukwena's palace, Mr. Kyerematen said the Tamale airport will be made economically viable for the export of crops grown in the area.
My vision is to make the 5 northern regions the food basket of the whole of West Africa. Most of you gathered here are farmers. And it is very important that we take agriculture seriously. What I propose to do is that all the crops that you are cultivating, we are going to build factories that will help you process all that you cultivate.
He also promised to provide jobs for the teeming unemployed youth in the country.
Find jobs for the young people of the Northern region. And if you help me to become president, I'll make sure that there is no child or young person in Ghana who will leave school and not be able to enter into a job.
Mr. Kyerematen said he stands for unity and will unite the country which is currently polarized.
We cannot survive as a nation when everything becomes politics. And the role I want to play is to bring the country together, is to build a united Ghana.
During a tour of Hohoi in the Volta region, Nana Kwame Bediako and the new force met with executives from the University of Health and Allied Sciences to address key national issues. Nana Kwame Bediako highlighted the Volta region's potential as an industrial hub capable of connecting Ghana through the Volta River and establishing distribution channels for locally processed goods. He voiced concern over, quote, brain drain, where educated Ghanaians leave for overseas jobs while the nation imports finished products made from its own raw materials, and urging an end to this cycle for sustainable growth. He also encouraged the people of Volta region to prioritize national progress over party loyalty, advocating for votes that drive meaningful change. Here's more.
Let's face the reality. Ghana needs that change. And the reason why Volta is a deep part of my heart is because in my vision, Volta can connect the north and the south. And it can lead water transportation to Bono and even Ashanti. We can connect to River Pra and all the things. You've already seen it. Ada is going into the sea. That water is there already, and people are building around it, and it's become a leisure space. That same water can become an industrial space. That same water can be transporting containers of processed cocoa, processed plantain, processed yam, processed of many things. It can come and connect to this water in Dambai that is probably here. We have the waters to connect ourselves and to start industrializing ourselves. What are these leaders doing? And they keep educating the people, educating. Yes, I like education, but please, education without the plan is going to come up to nothing with the degrees after. I've seen it myself. I go to nursing schools. There's so many girls there. They educate them for 20 years only for some smart person in England to come and pick all of them. So we the investors that we invest in our children to become doctors and to become nurses and to become IT solutionists, whatever. Somebody is there waiting for us to put our investment in, comes and grab the people. They're importing talents from our country, and we are importing products from their country. And the product has come from the raw materials that we produce. Hey, come on, think about this one. This is craziness. 2024, we have to change what we're, politics should be changed. I will repeat myself again. They're importing talent from us. Our own talent goes out there. And then they extract raw materials from us, use our own talent to refine it, to process it. Then you go and import the finished product into your country and pay taxes and sell it times 10 to your people.
Let's get into other stories away from the election headquarters. Bono East Regional Director of Health Services, Dr. Paulina Clara Pia, has bemoaned the increasing number of breast cancer cases in the region, attributing it to the lack of adequate treatment centers across the area. She charged women to take advantage of breast cancer screening exercises to help in the early detection of the disease. Dr. Paulina made this call at a brief event in Techiman to outdoor the oncology unit of the Holy Family Hospital. Anasabit has more.
Breast cancer is steadily increasing in Ghana, with majority of Ghanaians only seeking care in advanced stages of the disease, a situation that is increasing mortalities across the country. The reasons for poor survival rates are multifactorial, with the lack of oncology centers another issue the country has to address. The Bono East region until recently has been without an oncology unit. This according to Dr. Kingsley Bosompim, a surgical specialist and the lead in breast care at the Holy Family Hospital, is handling the fight against breast cancer.
Apart from skin cancers, breast cancer. So my name is Dr. Kingsley Bosompim. I'm a senior specialist. Unfortunately for us, about 50 to 70% of our cases present very late, as compared to the Western and then the developed world, because they have very effective screening systems for the early detection. When breast cancer is detected very early, it is curable. In the whole region, Bono region, Ahafo, and the Bono East, we cannot boast of even one single mammogram.
This new oncology unit, according to the Regional Director of Health Services, Dr. Paulina Clara Pia, will help in the early detection of breast cancers, which is key to the fight against the disease.
This oncology unit is so important. Thank you very much. So, this oncology unit is so important for us as a region, because if we look at our data, last year we were able to detect 48 new breast cancer cases, and in this year so far we've detected 42.
Dr. Paulina Clara Pia bemoaned certain myths and misconceptions that is preventing women from voluntary screening and charged women to participate in breast cancer screening exercises.
The myths are that there's some fear among women. So any breast problem, they are afraid that it may be cancer. And because of that, they just don't want to know. And so we want to encourage the women that at any point in time, please, whenever we are making advocacy about breast cancer, please involve yourself. Don't be afraid to avail yourself to be screened for breast cancer.
Dr. Susanne Hegobit-Becker is an oncologist and a professor of medicine from Hamburg, Germany. Her visit to the Holy Family Hospital a year ago sparked the conversation about the need to establish an oncology unit here. A year later, that dream is today a reality.
They asked me a year ago to come with them, which I did. And then I met Dr. Kingsley, the general surgeon, who has an emphasis for breast cancer. but there was nothing here when I came the first time. So I thought he was so enthusiastic and the whole crew was so enthusiastic that I thought it's worthwhile to try to build something up.
Professor Susanna expressed her excitement at the successes made and called for an increased awareness about the need to visit the hospital and stay away from resorting to self-medications.
I'm very excited to see what has happened during the last year. I think this is amazing, actually. So of course, what we should do is to increase awareness so that the women are not longer afraid to come. Just discuss the problem and sorry for saying it, but don't use too many healers because there are no specialists in that.
Dr. Kingsley Bosompim was, however, quick to appeal to authorities to help in the acquisition of a mammogram to help in the early detection of breast cancers.
In order to change the trend, so my name is Dr. Kingsley Bosompim. I'm a senior specialist and a general.
For first business story, some banks have described as prudent moves by the Bank of Ghana to improve dollar supply through multiple auctions. The central bank announced that it would now be selling US dollars spot at its daily forex auctions. Now, this means bidders now have two tenor options, that the existing 7-day tenor and the additional spot tenor. And speaking to Joy Business on the development, financial economist Professor Lord Mensah expressed skepticism about the sustainability of this move.
Well, it depends on our dollar buffers, and then also how, the market distortions orient itself to make sure that there will be no much difference when it comes to the 7-day and then the spot. The only thing that brings about the 7-day forward and then the 15-day and then the other days forward is about uncertainty. Now, once the market, the uncertainty on the market tones down, assurance, falls through, you'll come to appreciate that there will be no much differentials between the spot and then the forward. And so the market will be at equilibrium at a point. But for now, once there's uncertainty, for sure, the bidder will always require that immediately, there's a request for the dollar, it has to be made available.
The Deputy Agric Minister, Yalfrin Pongadu, has encouraged farmers and players in the agric sector to use agribusiness as the platform to promote shared prosperity and wealth creation. He said government is taking a holistic approach to addressing the infrastructural needs of farming communities and their inclusion. He spoke to Joy Business at the Ghana Exim Bank Tuesday market.
A lot more people are going to be employed, and then once produced the way they've done the packaging, it's so appealing both locally and internationally. And my interaction with a few of them, I've had the indication that they have been supplying these products to outside of this country, which is very good for us. And it's something that we at the ministry we are going to make sure that we encourage it at the highest level, because this is all we need. We produce, when we have bumper, everything goes bad. When there are small technologies that can process this one so that the shelf life will increase to, let's say, 6 months, and so that we will never get any scarcity of any of these produce. So in sum, I say I've been so excited being here this morning to see what is on display here.
And that's the end of the AM News Bulletin on the AM Show. Stay with us because News Review is coming up shortly. We'll be right back.
Welcome aboard. It's the News Review, and here we are giving you our guests for the morning. I'm talking about Afenyo-Markin, former GJA president, Ghana Journalists Association president, and we also have joining the conversation with us this morning Andrew Apia-Dankwa, legal practitioner and leading member of the Movement for Change. Both of them join the conversation. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Morning. Great Ben.
It appears today the color of his hat and the color of yours and other parts are synchronizing. Is that a signal about something that may be happening this morning?
Is an Afro-Fronto takeover.
Afro-Fronto takeover. Okay, so there's a movement here. There's a new breeze in the studio this morning. But both of you are looking resplendent. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
All right. So let thank you. Thank you.
I like you.
You know, Mudasiru will always. You are tempting me to talk about Siru Africa, but I'll do that at the tail end of the news review. Let's get into your thoughts for us this morning. So, like we do here, usually we take about a minute of our guests' thoughts on something they've been pondering, something crucial to our national life. This morning, I was listening to our sister station, Joy FM, and some analysis on what had happened in Parliament and everything in between, and how a lot of it is needless, having listened to the Speaker of Parliament, that, you know, I didn't deliver a ruling. It was an opinion. And in any case, I directed you to the Clerk of Parliament. And while going there, you would have realized that you were still majority and all that. So interesting times. And it has become quite a tussle, executive, judiciary, legislature. And now, then you call for government business, you recall Parliament, and you don't show up in Parliament. I don't know, but right? it's an interesting picture.
Interesting times, yeah.
But I'll start with you, Afenyo-Markin.
Man is on the litany frequency of political prophecies by so-called men of God. Indeed, one doesn't need any superfluity of anointing, discernment to label such prophecies as lies. The Bible, which is a perennial spring of wisdom and an infallible guide of conduct, teaches us in Hebrews 6:18 that it is impossible for God to lie. So for men or women of God to lie with such frequency and audacity, you know, beats our kind of understanding. So it's a call to the umbrella bodies like the Christian Council of Ghana, the Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic churches, to do something to stem the tide of such political prophecies which discredit the image of Christ. A related issue is the frequent endorsements by chiefs. And
they will not listen.
It is sad. And this is not to indict them, but my humble appeal is that is to drink from the fountain of Solomonic wisdom of Asante Ini. He, you know, he's in the middle. He's a symbol of political neutrality and authority. He will speak his mind to whoever you are, regardless of whether you are in a state or a presidential candidate or who are you. The consistency and confidence with which he speaks his mind, it's amazing. No wonder, you know, he is in a different bracket as far as chieftaincy is concerned. So to so-called men of God and chiefs who are supposed to be the embodiment of the wisdom of the people, and the custodian of the culture of the people under them, please wise up and shape up the interests of Ghana. Yeah.
All right. Let me come to you.
Yeah, so,
what are your thoughts for us?
So I think my burden, and this burden has been there, especially over the past 4 years, is the attack on the rule of law.
The attack on the rule of law.
By people we give our powers to protect, defend, and preserve our constitution. And that
Please speak up a little.
Yeah. And that attack stems from the parochial culture that seems to have taken over the politics of this country. So that people we give our powers to, whenever they are faced with decisions, we're taking a position, we're taking a stand for the sovereign. they are consistently fooled by what is in it for them. I think that's unfortunate, what I'll call familiar spirit. As in, was seen in how government has handled the Galamsey issue. As in, it's been seen in the unnecessary umpires that is happening in Parliament now. And I think if there's a time for the people of Ghana, the sovereign, the repository of political power, because when you read our constitution, I think it's clear, the powers they're exercising emanates from us. If there's a time for us to wake up, be interested, participate in the democratic process, then the time is now. If we fail to do so, I shudder to think of what will happen to this system of governance we took upon ourselves, whose focus and purpose is to guarantee for us the rule of law.
So you're saying there is the rule of law, and mind you, the president has touted time without number, I am doing this because of the rule of law, the rule of law. Even when it comes to accusations of corruption and others against members of his government, he says it is the rule of law we are following. You are saying these same people are compromising the rule of law?
Yes, certainly. And I think that compromise began with events from 7th January 2021, and in the manner in which... With
the election of... Or is it the dawn of the election of the speaker?
Exactly. When, just on the basis of a very petty argument, they were quick to invite the military into the chamber of democracy. Have you thought about what could have happened if the wire in any of the minds of the military at that time twigged? You understand? And
someone had been shot or something.
Or they seized power. They could have seized power there. I think those MPs, what could they have done if the military cocked the gun there and said, listen, we've taken over power? See, because of the purpose and focus of this constitutional democracy we took upon ourselves, the purpose and focus being the system of governance, as in which has been proven throughout history to be the safest bet of guaranteeing our right to life, our right to our liberties, our right to pursue our own happiness. So the way and manner in which these powers have been handled by people we entrusted those powers with, as in that tax with, people who took an oath of allegiance, you understand, to protect, defend, and preserve the Constitution. For they to be handling the powers we give them, you understand, without regard to promoting or safeguarding same, but rather behaving in a manner that undermines the rule of law. You understand? Then for me, I think it's a huge worry. And what even makes it scary for me is the fact that consistently they seem to put their personal interest, they seem to put the interest of their political parties as against the interest of Ghana. And I'm saying the example is the Galamsey issue. A typical example. Because we've granted you all the powers, but we've created into the president a trust. We've granted you
all the natural resources are entrusted to the president to manage on behalf of the people of Ghana. That's what the 1992
Constitution is saying. Now, you the president, you understand that in the manner in which, first of all, they are stealing the property of Ghana, because Galamsey essentially is stealing Ghana's properties.
Yeah.
You understand? In clear violation of the trust we created in you. Also, in the way they are stealing, they are destroying the environment. You understand? Putting all of our lives at peril, because if there's something that is fundamental, if you behave in a manner that undermines the ecological balance, then in the long term, you are putting all of our lives at peril, and that's why we say it is an existential threat. What has the president done? You understand? And where we know that, and there are reports that suggest the majority of the people who are into Galamsey are members of his political party. Would I be wrong if I say that?
Well, if you say a majority, we do know that some have been, implicated. I don't know about a majority, but we do know that some of them, and I can mention at least Akunta Mining and some names from the last Fourth Estate report, DCEs, people who are top figures in the party. I don't know about most of them. So, that I don't know, because we also know that, you see, and that's how bad the situation is. We've allowed people to come from Burkina Faso, Mali, neighboring countries, You can't go and do that there, but they're coming here. China and other countries, they come here. They do galamsey. Like you said, it is stealing. What resources we should be conserving for ourselves and generations to come, we're allowing other people, because it's like you have a great farm worth a lot, but you have no fence. So people can come in, steal whatever they like, and they are gone. And that is where what you talk of, the responsibility of the first gentleman of the land, the president, comes in, because he is entrusted with it. It's like a father. The family's resources, right? Protect them so that someone can come and take them away. You see?
And he sleeps. And you, let's suppose it's just one person from the party. Now, see, the 80% of this battle...
And we have to get into the papers, so just wrap on.
So 80% of this battle will be won if the president has the courage, the patriotism, you understand, to cause those people, you understand, to be brought to the book, you understand. And the failure, in my view, and that's my personal opinion, his failure to do so is because it seems he's more interested in protecting his party as against the country. And for me, that's a worry.
Let's get into the papers now. Afenyo-Markin, you have the Daily Guide. What does it say this morning?
The Daily Guide leads with the drama in Parliament, and the story says, vacant seat saga, Speaker NDC on war path, and that's Afenyo-Markin. Parliamentary standoff will affect public servant salaries. This is one view. The Attorney General Dami hosts SKB Asante on international arbitration, and 2 die in Konogo accident. So tragic. And we have Baumia unveils my credit score system. This story competes for space on the front page of
Any ones you'd like to look at very quickly so we move?
Certainly the story of the moment, the confrontation, the drama in Parliament yesterday. The MPP group had called for Parliament to be reconvened to look at urgent state matters, and the issue of who sits on the Speaker's right came up. Eventually, there was no show, and the Speaker was compelled to adjourn indefinitely Parliament again. This brings to the fore the need to tackle this issue from the root and not the branch.
Right.
The legalistic approach will not solve anything. You are a lawyer, I'm not a lawyer, but common sense dictates that the supreme national interest should prevail in this matter. All should subordinate their partisan, their parochial interests to the overall national interest. This is not a time for confrontational activism. This is not a time for rebel activism. This is not the time for provocative activism. This is a time for cool heads to prevail. We all heard the ruling by the Chief Justice, who urged Parliament or other Parliament, Director Parliament, to allow the status quo to remain until the issue is resolved finally. My layman's advice to the Chief Justice is that please do not allow yourself to be led into temptation to go to the extreme in resolving this matter legalistically. The Constitution confers on you the power of putting a seal of finality on such matters. But we need to square this power with the logic of reality. And the logic of reality is that the legal route will not bring a final resolution of this matter. This is a time for all heads, all minds to come together. We're told that the Speaker was confronting some statesmen to mobilize ideas and then to resolve this issue. But what happened yesterday was a clear indication that no breakthrough had been achieved. So there's a need to go back to the drawing board to resolve this matter in the supreme interest of this nation.
But
yeah.
Do you want to go on? I had wanted to throw a question on that to
the lawyer.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I also find it curious because you recall Parliament, right? Because you say government business must be done. And if you recall, the Chief Justice said, and how is it that, you know, in a republic, Parliament is not sitting and all of that? Parliament sat yesterday.
Yeah.
The members of the MPP caucus, who, by the way, if they were to go to the Clerk of Parliament, would discover they were still the majority, whichever way you want to look at it, which is why some people say this haste to go to court was needless, right? They were not in Parliament. And in fact, there was no government business. There was the order paper, I mean, there was nothing, basically. Why then was Parliament recalled? That's my curiosity. I mean, because I felt, okay, so come, let's negotiate, push government business as much as you can and achieve your ends, right? But you didn't even show up.
Yeah, in fact, and in fact, it's one of the reasons why, or which made me begin the way I began, because they initiated the proceedings which compelled the speaker to record them. That was what the MPP caucus. And then, strangely, they refused to show up. For me, the question is, and in the interviews, they made it clear that the reason why they failed to show up, as in not subsequently they organized some press conferences, that the reason why they failed to show up was based on where they were going to sit. And you see, so
which is more important, where you will sit or the business you want to execute?
And that's why I'm saying that the rule of law is under attack. In fact, if I'm there to expand it, Ghana is under attack because we have a group of people who clearly have demonstrated in the course of this 8th Parliament that they are prepared, or they will put their personal interests, the interests of their party, ahead of the interests of the country. They are reducing our democracy into a kakistocracy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, seriously.
A kakistocracy. Why? Is that not a bit harsh?
No, because this is how it all starts. Because immediately you veer from your core mandate, you act in a manner which suggests that you have lost focus from the purpose for why the people of Ghana granted you certain powers. You understand? Immediately, you consistently behave in that manner.
Right.
Then we shouldn't be afraid to tell them that they are acting in a manner which is unscrupulous. Really. So we are in a very tight situation. We need to create a culture that will sustain this democracy. The people burdened with that obligation is the political institutions, of which Parliament is a very critical part. And in the way they are behaving, in November, where we know our budget needs to be read, there are serious issues, you are playing games. You see that they are playing like some pillow, like some children. Yeah, you understand? At the expense of the interest of the country. You understand? Meanwhile, we need to understand that for this democracy to work, then you need to create a situation where the citizens will have a level of fidelity to the system. They must believe in the ability of the system to deliver for them.
The same way, if you go to court, you should believe that the judicial system will serve justice. And that if you are proven to be wrong, that indeed you are wrong on the face of the law. But now some things are not even so clear. But let me come back to you, because I just wanted him to react to that. And as a student of political science, that's why I found it interesting when he referred to
a kakistocracy.
A kakistocracy, because then you are referring to a government by the worst or the least qualified leaders.
Yeah,
you do realize that. That's what you're saying.
In fact, I strongly believe that, unfortunately, we've sat down, the people of Ghana have sat down, especially the middle class. They've sat down and have allowed people who have no business, based on how they've handled power, who have no business being in power. Because you see, the call to power is a call to leadership, and the call to leadership is a call to serve. You You understand? Clearly, they are not serving. It's like we put them to power and they expect us to serve them.
Yeah, it's a system we've created, and maybe something we have to over time. Because I feel, look, I've been to many other jurisdictions, and you go there. I remember in Cuba, you would see a naval captain and others in the bus, you know, Obia Nyobia, like that. You would go to certain countries in Europe, and you would see that, a minister, but he's like a common man doing the common things, and no one is going, yes, sir, yes, sir. I've seen here, you know, people in office, someone has to hold the bag, someone has to. You remember that incident where Obama was holding an umbrella over? But here, so it tells you that we have a culture where if you, and it doesn't start from here. Go to back then in secondary school and all of that. If you were, what do you call it? Even forget being a prefect. If you were the senior on duty or something, you know, we arrogate certain powers to ourselves. So for this whole talk about, certain classes of people must be called honorable. If you are not honorable, why should I be calling you honorable? If your actions are not honorable, why should I be calling you? See, so we like the power play. Do you know who I am? And those kinds of things. And we fed into that. So we make them think they are superhuman, when in fact, they are supposed to be technically beneath us, that what we tell them is what they are supposed to do. But coming back to you, you were not done with the Daily Guide newspaper.
So my point is that, as my brother said, we are at the crossroads as a nation. We are almost at the precipice. The need for us to pull back, otherwise the consequences will be incalculable. So this is the time for all peace-loving Ghanaians, people who have the welfare and well-being of a democracy at heart. Democracy goes beyond the performative act of voting every 4 years. And as the media committee in particular have a responsibility to ensure that people who are appointed or who are elected in certain positions fit the bill. They have the qualities. But now what's happened to democracy is that monocracy has taken over democracy. The ability to bribe, ability to pay, ability to organize mega rallies is what is holding the sway. So we need to go back to the basics and ensure that we purify a democracy, because there's no system. We've tried all of this. Military regimes, you know, they sent us backwards. They came, you know, with all kinds of righteous ways, but their deeds were so impious that we need to wise up and ensure that we perfect the system, which has served us for 32 good years with unfailing regularity.
Okay, all right. Let's get into your stack of papers. We have a bit of a time crunch, so let's do this quickly.
So MTN goes big on sustainability with green technology.
So this is the new center you're reading, right? So the new center, right.
The new center, credit scoring system launched to remove bottlenecks to credit, Dr. Baumia. The best post Ghana 881 million Ghana cedis profit clears all legacy debts. Then Bagbin setting Ghana on fire. Afenyo-Markin.
Why are you looking at me?
I can't believe.
Afenyo says, you know, Bagbin is setting Ghana on fire. That's what he said.
In fact, I listened to Bagbin, I think on Wednesday.
On the 6th.
The press conference.
On the press conference. And, and my personal view is to commend him for that press conference, because my understanding of what he sought to do was to cause the politicians to have a real focus and a real commitment to the reasons why they are where they are in the first place. And that's why...
Honestly, I felt after that press conference that yesterday, maybe they would be able to negotiate things and move forward. Unfortunately, that did not happen.
Because, you see, and in fact, I was really appreciative of the fact that he made reference to the oath they took, the oath of allegiance, in which they swore by God, by the Almighty God, to be faithful to Ghana, to protect, preserve, and defend the Constitution of Ghana. 3, to dedicate themselves to the well-being of Ghana. Now, the essence of that oath was to commit themselves to the reason why we took upon ourselves this system of governance, which is, once again, to protect our right to our lives, to protect our liberties, and to protect our inalienable right to pursue our own happiness. And a recognition that the best way of us achieving that purpose is to have a system of government which will guarantee us the rule of law.
Right.
Understand? And we know that there are certain, like you were saying, equality before the law. We are all equal before the law. Nobody is more human being than another. Secondly, certainty of the law. You need to understand that, listen, if I do A, B, C, D, this will be the consequence. If I go to court with this set of facts, this will be the consequence. And thirdly, an abhorrence for arbitrariness. You understand? And so, having given, in my view, a fantastic speech in defense of Ghana and telling us what can befall us if we allow this unnecessary, like I say, Koliko games to undermine this system of governance, and thus undermining the rule of law and the purpose of the rule of law. You understand? So after such a fantastic press conference, and let me add, I think his name will be etched in gold when history looks back at what was happening. And I know that we'll sail through this. But Bagbin's name will be etched in gold. So disappointing that after such a fantastic statement, calling all of them on board, reminding them of the oath they took, the purpose of the oath they took.
Right.
Afenyo-Markins the MPP caucus will refuse to go to Parliamentary. And after they'll be making all those unnecessary statements, we are going to cite the Speaker for contempt and all those unnecessary statements. Listen, the MPP caucus needs to understand, the MPP party too, need to understand that the reason why they became a political party, the reason why they are in Parliament, the reason why we give them the powers we've given them now, is to serve Ghana, is to advance the cause of Ghana, is to do everything in their power so that Ghana can rise again as the Black Star of Africa. But they are using the power we give them in a manner that's very adverse to why we give them those powers.
So you don't agree that Bagbin is setting Ghana on fire?
No. Why is he setting Ghana on fire? I disagree vehemently with that position. It doesn't mean I agree with everything Bagbin has done, but that's the beauty of democracy.
Right.
We may disagree, but we have systems that allows us in the disagreement, you understand, to come to some kind of resolution, all with the purpose and focus of advancing the cause of Ghana. And I'm not convinced that in the way the MPP caucus are acting, they are even thinking about Ghana. They are thinking about how they are going to preserve themselves in power. You understand? And for me, that attitude, that spirit, that desire that is fueling them, like I've said, is our actions that constitute a war being waged on the rule of law and on this system of governance that Ghanaians took upon themselves. And they must be told that in no uncertain terms.
All right. Let me also, okay, so let's see whether there's something you can quickly do from ABC News before I get into the daily graphic. So just the headlines.
So Bawumia to win one touch, 50.48%. That's the IGG poll affirms. Mahama lied. Government never borrowed 42 billion Ghana cedis from Bank of Ghana. That's the UPSA done. And John Mahama's portion of Ghana's current debt stock, same as that of President Akufo-Addo. That's from Dr. George Domfe.
In 30 seconds.
So, with what
the way you're going back, I think you're about to drop bomb. You come forward.
So with what happened in the US, with what happened in the last US election,
right?
Well, personally, I see what the pollsters are saying, but the most important poll is what we are going to undertake on the 7th of December.
Available.
Exactly. With all that is happening, you understand? With everything that is happening, who has created more environmental mess than the other NDC MPP, who has borrowed more than the other MPP NDC, who is more corrupt than MPP NDC, all these. Listen, let's radically shift from this duopoly. Because if there's anything they've taught us, that when the question is asked,
like
you understand, they are going to choose their parties over the country. Let's vote for Alan John Kojo Chemanten, who has demonstrated that when he's pushed to the wall, he always chooses Ghana. And indeed, he's pushing for a government of national unity, where your party doesn't matter, your tribe doesn't matter, where all he requires from you is your commitment to the Ghana cause. Let's vote for him and let's sweep these two noisemakers and destroyers from the system. They are destroying the country.
We have to go, but you remember Unigov? Unigov didn't really...
No, but this will work.
This will work.
This will work.
Okay, we have experience. But anyway, the Daily Graphic newspaper. Can NPP take over KEEA seat? NDC show of victory. You can check out those stories from pages 22 and 27 of the paper. My credit score unveiled as third credit reference bureau. Parliament adjourns again. And it talks about the fact that Afenyo-Markin mentioned at the conference, the press conference, that they did not come in. It was to avoid a possible standoff over who had the right to occupy the majority side. For me, I don't know. But that when the House began sitting, then the Speaker said, though the House had a quorum, there was no business before it to transact. And Kasilato Forson also says, what we are seeing is an abuse of the Constitution and standing orders of Parliament. The MPP caucus has caused financial loss to the state. We call on the people of Ghana to see the behavior of the MPP and punish them accordingly. Okay. Then so let's go to page 13. At least we have a little time to kill before where the story about the credit score is. So let me get there. So a platform app has been designed to transform credit referencing in this country, and it has been unveiled at a ceremony in Accra. Known as My Credit Score, the initiative, which has been piloted for over 2 years, was expected to redefine credit referencing in the country. Having met the licensing requirements under the Credit Reporting Act 2007, that is Act 726, My Credit Score has been licensed by the Bank of Ghana to operate as the third service credit bureau in the country. Described as the gateway to financial opportunities, patrons are expected to start from the borrower's portal by putting in www.mycreditscore.com.ga to access the platform. The Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, who launched this, said the credit score was much like a financial report card, which quantified loan payment history, debt levels, and credit behavior into a single number, making it easier for banks and other lenders to access one's financial reliability. It's like you would find in the US, where if you're going for your credit worthiness is. It's also similar to what on the international market as nations borrowing. So that is why our ratings at the point, Fitch, Standard & Poor's and others would give us Moody scores. Moody's would give us Moody ratings because we were in there. But how do you react to this, really?
I think it's a good thing. Because I think we can't have a debate on one of the reasons why credit is made available to businesses and to individuals. So yes, I think is a fantastic initiative, right? And I hope beyond that, all the other things that is hindering access to credit in the system, right, will be addressed. So my first initial reaction is that it's a good initiative, and we must all support it. If something is good, it shouldn't matter who is leading it. Understand? And so I think I'll commend the VIP for this initiative.
All right. Any quick thoughts on that?
Yeah, I share the same views. Once again, His Excellency Dr. Baumia has demonstrated his innovative spark, and he deserves all the commendation. And the experts tell us that two broad paths to development. Number one, cultural borrowing, and number two, force. And if you start to use for, it should be sustained and permanent. And cultural borrowing dictates that we learn from others. And this credit score system is working perfectly under systems. So it's time for us to borrow and borrow well, and make sure that we adapt it to our system to serve the purpose for which it was launched.
All right. Right before we go, just a few. There's one on the back page I'll look at, but before I go there, this editorial continues. It's by Emil Ashon, and he says, is the Council of State alive? They should visit Bagbin in the company of his most revered pastor. That is what Emil Ashon says. I do know that he's conferred with. In fact, the Council of States did have an interaction with him.
What's happening indicate that there was no breakthrough. They only scratched the surface of the
exactly.
And there's a need.
And you, as a lawyer, you know, there's also been this talk about the real work of the Council of State vis-a-vis the deliverables in our country, an advisory role that no one has to enforce, and what they are as well, what some people term another drain on
Yeah,
the public
who see them
first. Those conversations have been had, and even if you go into the 2010 Constitutional Review Commission, there are thoughts there about this whole idea of a council of state.
In fact, it's my personal view and the view of my candidate.
Very briefly, we have to.
Briefly, is that we need a radical look at our constitution, as in radical reforms. And I think the Council of State is one of the.
Should we remodel it or should it go completely? What do you think?
You know, I think it should go and it should be replaced by the Government of National Unity chamber. You know, in our we are proposing a chamber for Government of National Unity where it won't be partisan. It won't be partisan, so it will be as in.
So there are people from different ends of the political spectrum can fit
and
in.
And they will also have raw power. So one, the president appoints the EC, and you understand all those appointments should be made by that chamber.
Okay. All right. Ghana Water Company Limited loses 1.89 billion worth of processed water annually. And the managing director, Dr. Clifford Brymer, said, today we lose about 48% of the total water produced in all 90 urban water systems combined. We have made huge investments to ensure accurate measurements and to identify areas within our networks where water loss occurs. So they are engaging a Danish firm, Ahusvand, to help them with some of those. Of course, the effects of galamsey also are another additional problem. So if you add that, then it means Ghana Water, Charlie, right now.
Ghana, we are
going through a lot. And the MasterCard Foundation project creates 94,255 jobs, generates $13.2 million. We have to go, gentlemen. 15 seconds, final thoughts. I'll start with you.
Our democracy is on the attack, and they need to repel this attack and ensure that we put it on a firmer footing to ensure that this generation and generation yet unborn will not come and curse us for messing up with such a beautiful system.
All right, thank you. Final words.
It's simple. I think the people of Ghana have been sleeping. If there's a time.
What has been sleeping?
The people of Ghana, as in the real repositories of sovereign power. We've given our powers to people and they are playing with it. Let's wake up. Let's be interested in this democracy. Let's participate in it. And let's take the right decisions. That's in the interest of the country.
Thank you very much. Let me just salute the man who always fits me out, makes me look so good. Mudasiru of Siru Africa. If you love what you're seeing this morning, it's courtesy of him, young man doing great things. The number to call is 0557 029 138. 0557 029 138. He's also reachable on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at Siru Africa. That is SIRU-Africa. This is where we sew it up for the news review. Thank you once more, Mr. Afenyo-Markin, former president of the Ghana Journalists Association, and Andrew Apiadankwa, legal practitioner, leading member, Movement for Change. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
It is time now for us to veer into sports, and it is, of course, Prime Take with Muftau Nabila Abdullahi. That will bring you after the break.
Hello, everyone. Today we are in the company of a man who has been given the responsibility of supervising one of Ghana's biggest institutions. The last time I was with him, he tried shading my school because in his opinion, there's only one university of Ghana. There's only one university in Ghana, those were his words, because any other university is or belongs to communities or belongs to certain areas in the country. Only one university belongs to this country, which is the University of Ghana. He is the director of sports at the University of Ghana, stepping into the shoes of the likes of the late Dr. Owusu Ansah, stepping into the shoes of the likes of Dr. Bello Bitugu. Now, he has a mantle of supervising sports in this premier institution, and we went to have a conversation with him to have an understanding of his journey so far and what his vision is for sports in this very institution that has produced so many talented sportsmen and women in this country. Doc, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Thanks for your time.
Thanks for having me.
I'll I was just recalling your decision to shade my school.
I guess it's only a fact. I only stated a fact, not trying to shade. Just look at the names. University of Ghana.
University of Education, Winneba. University of Education, University of Cape Coast.
Cape Coast. Then Kwame Nkrumah.
University of
So
Science
it's
and
either a
Technology.
name of a person or a town.
Now we have
But the only university
Dr. Dombo University.
That's the name of a person. My own place to CK Tedam.
Yes.
Yes, that's an uncle.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's his university. But when you say the University of Ghana, the only university is University of Ghana.
So Ghana, we have only one university.
Yeah. The rest and in other. I'm only stating, like I said, I'm
But
not shading.
You see, as I mentioned to you the last time, the University of Competitive Choice is when you miss out on getting that university, that is when you decide to go, okay, because Ghana belongs to all of us, I can find myself.
No, you know,
in
you
that
decided to name it Competitive Choice, but actually it's called Cape Coast. You have just decided to make the CC to be Competitive Choice. But here we are not trying to design them according to our meaning, but we're just stating as it is.
So if we get to a point where University of Ghana is renamed, would it still be the only university in this country?
You know, attempts to rename it wouldn't go easy. You understand that?
But it is possible.
I'm not saying it's possible or not possible, but I'm talking about as we sit here and in current trends and what is stated, I'm just stating the facts.
You're trying to say that the agenda will not agenda.
No. So let's see when it happens there, they will not think of what is supposed to be. But it doesn't negate the fact that it's still a premier.
A premier university.
Yep.
Doc, talk to me about your beginnings. How would you describe them?
Humble, complex, exciting. I just mix it all.
Break them down.
Okay. So from a home, okay, God presented me to a family of the Lugutera. And the name Lugutera sounds big in the north and even the law. Like I mentioned earlier on before we started, you can't do law in the country without going through Northern Engineering and Lugutera. It's a landmark case. So, and also my mom, Azumi Awudu, Augustine. So Augustina, actually I was named after her. Yeah, and I grew, as part of my growth, my mom was schooling. So when she was schooling, I grew up with my grandparents who were virtually living in Moshizongo in Tamale.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's why I say mixed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
So in Moshizongo, I had a blend of life, which actually groomed me to who I am now. Because in the typical home of the Luguteres, it's a wall environment where you find it difficult to even step out. There were instances at home, at my old man's place, where before you go out, my senior brother will ask you to go through an exit to go out.
In your own house?
Yes, because it's a way of trying to, in those days, the training was trying to, like a regiment, sort of.
Quite restrictive.
Restrictive book and that thing. And we're defined by book. You were not defined by what you do and other things. So far as you do well in the classroom, you are good to go. If you do anything out of the classroom, you are not good to go. So it was like that. So I felt comfort. I just felt so much relaxed and more comfort when I was in Moshizongo, because that was a place where there were no walls, no boundaries. Any house could be your house. You could run from one community, one area to another area.
And when you get there and they are eating, you can eat
You
some.
can join. So anybody by your house is a relative, whether he's coming from your hometown or not. And I can tell you, in those days, Moshizongo was an interesting place because it was mixed up of different people. The Moshis were there, the Sisales were there, the Kasines were there, the Gumbes were there. They were just mixed. So I found myself there, and that was where I realized what I wanted to do, because I had a passion for sports. I was that kind of extrovert. so to speak. I like to go out. I didn't want restriction. And I didn't want to be defined by people's statement.
Yeah.
So I was the type that anytime someone tells me that, Austin, you can't do this, that was what exactly I want to do. I was trying to always prove somebody wrong. So improving people wrong is what made me to be where I am.
But the name Lugutera, did it in any way influence you?
No, as growing up, no. No.
Because there are some people.
And interestingly, there were people at the time in Mushizongo who were finding it difficult to find out whether I actually belonged to that house. Because I was like different. My actions were different. And anytime I went home for vacation, and I spent most of the time, then I go back to my father's house. Yeah. And anytime I go to my father's house, I was seen as a different person. Because I couldn't fit in right. I was always agitated. Anytime I sat down small, sometimes I know, get up and go. Like, I couldn't sit. And this is a place that you are restricted. And I'm coming from an area where you are not restricted. So once in a while, I'll jump over the wall. Because the rest couldn't jump, I would jump over the wall, go and play. There was, apparently our house was just by the hospital, on the road to the hospital, yeah, where we had SDA in Tamale, if people knew SDA, then the Dekwema Primary. So I'll run to go and play ball at the Dekwema Primary, then come back, pass through the wall again and jump and enter. The only thing that would betray me is that my body is dirty. So I'm sure
so passing through the gate, they will know where you went, or you couldn't use the gate.
No, if you are going out to the gate, you either see my old man sitting down reading newspapers, or you see my senior most brother
with his glasses.
Yes, looking at you.
And when he does this, it means that he has seen you.
No, not even. You don't even dare to let him see you. The sight of him will tell you pass a different route.
Or go back.
Go back. So the only option was to go out, or the day he's not in the house at all, then you could pass the gate, go and do your thing and come back. Yeah, so that was me. And the likes of Bawa Fisheni, his brother, Alasan. Yeah. So we grew up in the same environment.
Oh, I see.
So we see ourselves as brothers.
So Bawa Fisheni, the president of Ghana Athletics.
So if you meet them, they will tell you so much about me because we grew up in the same environment, running up and down, doing whatever we could do.
Were you also running with them?
No, they were doing,
because they became athletes.
They were running and I was in the balls.
Oh, okay.
I started to play football. Yes. But
so you are a disappointed footballer?
Will I say so? I say so. I would say probably the flair wasn't there. Because at that time we had people who were far better. I got to play volleyball by mistake. Because I started playing basketball.
And how did you get into the volleyball?
Yes. So I started playing basketball at secondary school. So whilst at basketball, it was like, basketball was like fun.
Yeah.
And interestingly, like, if you want to know of the school, ask Fentu, he will tell you the name of the school.
You've started.
I've started a fight.
You've started.
Yes. So the same school with him.
Yeah?
Yes, but I mean, when I was there, he wasn't around.
Yeah, he was not there.
Yes. So Canton Secondary School was a excitement place too, that we had. Most of the people were from the environs to move.
Oh, okay.
The nearest were coming from Bolga, Wa.
But in Tamale, you were in Tamale, all of a sudden to Canton.
Good. So I was there because my uncle at that time was working there. So I was taken to Canton because they thought that my uncle could tame me. Because he was a hardcore.
You were the lion in the house they needed to tame.
Not lion, but I was like outlawed.
Yeah.
I didn't respect boundaries. So they thought that he could tame me. So I was taken there. So it was there that I realized that I had these friends from Bolga who come with ball and we play. Because at that time, if you want to go and play football, there were big boys there. You want to do any game, they were the big guys. But when you go to play basketball, it was only selected people. It wasn't for the zongos, so to speak. So that's how I started playing basketball. I happened to appear on the volleyball court because at that time they were renovating the basketball court.
Oh, okay.
So I passed there, people were playing, I looked at it. And interestingly, I'm good at looking at things to do. So I looked at them playing, I said, I could play. So I entered And because I already had coordination, I entered, the first thing I was interested was the spiking. I wasn't interested in receiving.
You threw the ball and you
just threw the ball for me. So when I jumped, basketball rim is higher.
Yeah.
So when I jumped, I realized, wow.
This one you can fly above the net.
The net was everywhere. So I hit, boom. So when I hit, the PE teacher, that said, no, you can't go anywhere again. Remain here. So I just remained and started playing. And at the time I was playing too, I was still small. I had grown-ups playing. Then after school, after basketball, then I took it up.
And that's it. You mentioned something earlier about law students, right? When you're studying law, you definitely come across the Lugutera, right? What is it all about? What happened?
I guess it's a landmark case between Lugutera and Northern Engineering.
Okay.
Yes, and the law schools, the law students will say much about it.
Yeah.
I can't delve so much in it because I only have a knowledge. Anytime I meet student people from law, you mention the name, the first thing is, hey, Lugutera in Northern Engineering. Yes, and my dad, I remember there are a lot of people who have come to him to understand the whole case.
Was he a legal luminary?
Yes, like I mentioned earlier before we started, he's among the early lawyers in the North. Yeah, he practiced law in Tamale. He had his chambers, Lugu chambers in Tamale, which is still there in Tamale, and he practiced both in Tamale and Accra, but he was predominantly in Tamale.
Did any of your siblings take his part?
No, we are only hoping that our children would take up. So we have.
Despite his restrictive nature, you all chose to go separate ways?
That's one thing too. He never restricted people. That was his desire, was to see most of us move into law. But it's just as you grow, your parents have their own desire. You also have where you are directed by God. So I moved into sports.
You were directed by stubbornness.
Yeah, so I moved into sports. And also, the thing that helped me also was because I'm coming from a home that liked learning, I didn't take my sports only practice. I had to go to school in that direction throughout to my PhD level to now develop my own self in that direction instead of just playing. Yeah. My other brother, Albert, he's the VC for CK Tedam now. He veered into maths. He did his first degree maths, second degree maths, PhD maths. So he has carried all the maths in the house to do that direction.
Those of us who had phobia for maths when we were in school. And he was doing maths until PhD level.
Yeah, so the other siblings, one of my senior most, he's a chartered accountant in Canada. The other one to same. He was a CEO for SOS, but now in UK.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so everybody veered in. I have my other case sister in UK too, who's also into education. He has his PhD, but he's heading a school too. So varied. And my other brother, Victor, he's veered into business. But even as you are veered into business, you have to also go to school. He has also two of his masters, all in business strategy and the rest. He's moving in his direction. So everybody is finding his level, trying to occupy space.
I know my level.
And leaving the old man in his own level, hoping that our kids will also grow to take up the story.
But the restrictive nature of your dad, is this something you're pumping into your children?
Blend of me and them. Because I try to give them space to explore. Because in these current times, if you dare prevent them, remember that they'll be communicating with somebody far away from you. They have their phone.
Yes.
In those days, we didn't have phone, so you could restrict. But this time, if you restrict the person, oh, you've given me space. He'll be in his room chatting with somebody on phone, far away from you. So in my way, I try to say that, okay, let me have a conversation with you. Let's rather interact more instead of interact with somebody on the phone. Let me understand what you want to do. Let me guide you to do what you want to do. My boy plays basketball. He's in school. He's doing so well. So I try to say that, okay, you can do this and still go to school. Because I did that and went to school. So let's just have that conversation. Not to restrict you. Don't do this, don't do. Because I don't know what talent you are coming up to the world with. Yeah, so why should I restrict you?
How many children do you have?
3.
3 children?
Yes. One just finished doctor in medical laboratory studies. And starting to pursue her master MPhil in cancer genetics. Yes.
But you have only 3 kids, 3
And It's okay, Pep. It's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Is the system
Very okay. Very okay. At least I've been able to, with my little resources, I've been able to guide them with that.
When you were mentioning your father's children, they were more than 3.
No, after us, in those days.
Your father gave birth to how many? See, you can't even
we are
remember.
about 16 plus.
16 plus?
Yeah, still
So if your father was giving birth to 3, will you be there?
No, but the point is that he had more than one wife.
Maybe if he had more than one wife, he's able to put this 16 plus.
No, he had more than one wife. I had just one.
Just
one. And no, not to do. No, it's okay.
This thing is not fair. Your father did 16 plus. You can't do only 3.
That's what I'm saying. In their days, the population of Ghana was less than 5 million.
So you want to cut down on Ghana's population?
No, I'm trying to manage Ghana. I'm managing Ghana, trying to say that, okay, I shouldn't add to the troubles of Ghana.
Of this country. Talk to me about the volleyball thing. You spoke about how going to the volleyball court because of the renovation of your basketball court, and that walked you into volleyball. How would you describe that journey?
Interesting and exciting. And even as I moved into volleyball, I still didn't stop playing basketball. I was still playing basketball and volleyball. So I used basketball as a warm-up, as a place to train, to hit up, and go to play volleyball.
Okay.
So interestingly, when I was in Tamale training, that was my peak. Where I was playing youth home, we had basketball court and volleyball court just by close to each other.
Okay.
So I go to basketball, warm up, play, do all my jumping, do all my shots, then move to volleyball. And sometimes I use the basketball as, hitting. I hit against the basketball. And imagine hitting against the basketball, you meet the volleyball, it becomes so light.
So light for
so
you.
Light, yes. Yeah, so that's why I started, and it was so exciting.
You were so good at both?
Good at both, but volleyball that was my strength. Yeah.
And it took you to the top?
Yeah, it took me to the top. For the university, I was playing both volleyball and basketball. For national programs, I was only in volleyball.
Wow. And I'm sure that ushered you into the position because of your likeness for volleyball. It ushered you into leadership positions in volleyball.
Yes. Yes. So currently the Vice President for Volleyball Association and the first President for Development Confederation of African Volleyball. First in Ghana.
Hey, I'm speaking to a big man.
Oh, no.
Today I've met my destiny helper.
Oh, just...
Today I've met my destiny helper.
Oh.
Hey, dog.
Oh.
First, oh.
Yeah.
First.
Yeah.
First. It's not easy
first
to be first.
Ghanaian, yeah.
It's not easy to be first. That's a massive, massive achievement.
Yeah.
So tell me about the Volleyball Federation. What are the special things that you are doing in there?
You know, the Volleyball Federation, just like any of the other federation, has its own challenges.
Yeah.
And the challenges is always on support. The issue of support. Support in the country games, or especially sports, has always been soccer, football. The rest of the other sports are hustling, trying to survive on footing.
But football is not limited to only the national team.
Yes, if it's limited, even that's what I'm saying. So let it also be limited to the rest of the other national teams. Because the federations are always surviving on the national teams. The rest of the other teams you work on from from all the regional levels are supposed to feed into the national teams. So the league matches you play, why are you playing them? To feed into the national team. The youth development, what are you doing? To get it to graduate into the national team. So everything is ending up at national team. Yeah. And who manage the national team? The federations.
The federation.
You get that? And that is where support is needed. The volleyball, many of that, I can only talk 4 months on my volleyball, that we don't have the support needed. At a point in time, we just needed about $10,000 to go for Olympic qualifiers. $10,000. Olympic qualifier, we didn't have. So our guys couldn't go. They train at a point in time, even $5,000. And I can tell you currently, the Volleyball Association, most of the things they do is based on contributions. Board members have to always contribute, even to travel to Togo.
And go and compete.
And go and compete in the name of the country. And I can tell you for sure that we have to even contribute to buy for the national team. Tracksuit, jerseys, and the rest.
So you're pumping your personal resources?
Yes, so when it's like that, you see, we all having our own personal things to do.
Yeah.
We don't have that resource. So the little you have, if you end up using it and always contributing to the federation, I mean, even if it's full, it will run out. You at a point in time, you yourself, you start getting, depressed by these actions. Yeah.
I was going through a bit of your biography, and you've been in physical education sector, teaching at the basic and up all the way up to university for like 25 years plus.
Yep.
25 years. That's what, 1999?
No. So, started teaching from 1991.
1991. Then it's 30 plus. That's the 33 years, isn't it?
Yep.
Doc, that's massive.
Yeah.
Tell me about the experience of that.
Yeah, so that makes me to, because I said I moved into sports.
Yeah.
And I didn't move in, that's a passion. Like other people, so I moved into it thinking of my graduation. So every little step I was going, it was purposive. I knew where I was going. So I started teaching, so I went to University of Education, Winneba, to do actual physical education and English language.
Can you imagine? When you were saying there's only one university in Ghana, now you went to the University of Education, Winneba.
No, at that time, that was the only university that was doing sports, my interest. At the same time, I wanted to do English language. So I was thinking of the blend. So when I got to University of Education, Winneba, I did physical education and English language, which wasn't common. Many people were doing it in relating to, anytime you are doing physical education, people would do nutrition to add. People were doing special education to add. People were doing other things. But I was interested in English language. You get that? So I moved to a Palm Secondary School. Interesting to say that Captain Smart was in that school at that time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so when I was at school, when I was teaching there, he was an SP.
So Captain Smart was your student?
Yeah, he was an SP at that time. He was a school prefect. Yeah. So,
I see.
So when I got there, I was teaching English language and also physical education. So my combination was always queer. At the same time, I wanted to do passion and do what I was thinking of doing. You understand that?
Yeah.
Good. So what drove me out again, like I said, from childhood, I was always thinking, anytime someone challenged me, I wanted to do something more. So I found myself in a Palm Secondary School where teachers at that time were looking down upon physical education teachers. Most of them thought that if you are doing physical education, you were not up to that level. So I was in the common room one day when the staff was talking plenty, a government lecturer was talking plenty and said that he was going to do his master's in public administration and bragging plenty, talking plenty. And that time, no social media.
Yeah.
So I looked at it and my focus was how to find a way of silencing this guy. So I picked the paper and I saw the same publication, University of Ghana advertising for public administration.
Yeah.
So I also applied. At that time I was applying, my mind was, because the guy was also going to apply, a government teacher was going to apply, so I applied. We came here, at that time we came for entrance examination. You came for entrance examination, and I passed, he didn't pass. So the list again appeared on papers. So I cut that part, pasted on the notice board and highlighted it where my name appeared. That I got it. So that was my focus, just to prove you wrong. Don't think that the person, the physical education person was stupid.
But he inspired you.
He inspired me, but I wasn't inspired. I went in with a different mindset. But his inspiration was through the negative, by 10 positive. You get that? So that forced me to move, to veer off bit to public administration. Got to Legon here, did my public administration, became the first again president for Public Administration Students Association. I'm the founding president. Then left. After that, my focus was still there. No, the sports is still hanging there. So I had to go back again to now do the masters again in sports. So I'll be in alignment. So to do my PhD is a combination of both. To do now public administration, but specialize in sports policy.
This has brought me to a point where we're asking many questions. At this point, you mentioned about how people undermine physical education, right? It's been there for years. Has anything changed?
No, I guess it's our antecedents. I would say so because if you look at the colonial settings, the physical education people were seen as wearing tracksuits and just running around with the children. You get that? So we grew up in that mindset.
Let me greet my physical education teacher. In fact, let me start from primary. Mr. Idi, he was my physical education teacher in primary. Secondary school, in fact, it was Mr. Nkansa. And the secondary school, Mr. Avero Peter.
Yes, I know Avero.
You know Avero?
Yes.
Avero Peter was my physical education teacher in second. In fact, we nicknamed him cardiovascular endurance.
Avero is a senior.
Oh, okay.
Yes. You know, so when you look at it from that direction, people all the time pick the humanities, the other things, and even the sciences. And even those in the sciences don't look at physical education as part of sciences, but physical education is actually part of allied sciences. If you look at it by its structure. Because the courses you go through, that is why you can say that you're calling your teacher cardiovascular.
Cardiovascular endurance.
Good. Because the thing he learns in this university is virtually the anatomy, physiology, biomechanics, and the things. Yeah. And these are things that we ignore, which other countries are doing, and we want to imitate them. If you look at the ancient Greek, I always mention in my talk, what made them grow was because they had a basic principle, which states that a healthy mind lives in a healthy body.
Yes.
Good. So all their direction was in that focus. And how do you get a healthy mind, a healthy body? Physical education.
Physical education.
But this is something that we frown upon. This is something that we look and think that, oh, nothing. And forgetting that if the same thing we want to divorce sports. Why is sports? The foundation of sports is physical education. If you don't have that foundation, you can't go ahead.
Have we gotten it wrong in this country?
Our priorities are wrong. We want to copy, but we don't want to find out how they are making it. It's just like I see you, Muftar, okay, you are looking good, but I don't want to find out what came out before you got to this level of being good. I just want to get straight to your level. That's the mindset of Ghana. We want to see United States has done this. Yeah, we are quick to say, oh, United States, they are getting money in sports. So let's get money in sports. You come. But what foundation did they build to get to that level? We don't even have a sports policy.
It's something that is being worked on.
I'm part of those who worked on it.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yes, I'm part of those.
And then Dr. Bello too.
Yes.
And then
yes.
Dr. Ernest Cranton.
Yes, myself, Dr. Bello, Ernest Cranton, and many others, the lawyer in the ministry, Yobo.
Yeah.
Yes, we're part of it.
I was one of the few privileged people who was given a draft to read.
Good. So you've done this. And it took us virtually almost a whole year to work on that. We finished working on it. Where is it? And I can tell you, because that's my area, policy, and I can tell you what will prevent many people not from doing that. It's reason that it's a way out for them. Because policy is binding. Clear?
Yeah.
Manifestos are not binding. It's knee-jerk activities. Manifesto is binding to the party people. It's not binding to the country. So let's hammer on it. That's a place we can always hover around. So they pretend, all of politicians, they pretend as if they are developing sports. No, they are not developing sports.
You just say they pretend.
I'll say it clear, because if you are not pretending, for years and years now you are operating on sports, you still don't have the policy. I'm not pretending. And it's not that you don't know that the other countries are having policies. Nigeria has a policy. They finished just, I guess, 2018 thereabout. All the countries we are trying to emulate, they are having their policy. In fact, you go to UK, they have their policy in different forms. Yes, apart from the main policy, they have policy in sports business, policy in sports marketing, they have policies.
Yeah.
And we yet want to see Premier League going, and we say, oh, we want to be like Manchester. You are sick. We want to be like other countries. How did they get there?
You've not laid the foundation to be there.
You are not committed. And every year we are just thinking of manifesto in sport. And journalists, you are part of it. You don't ask them on the main policy, you're asking them to be a manifesto on sports. Their manifesto is their party commitment. It's not nationally binding. Who can take you on? You take the manifesto, after all, there are several policies they came out with, people came out with, politicians came out with, and they can always find a way of swerving it. But once something binding, it's not for everybody. What is our youth development? Coast team is dead. Is it surviving? No. Moved out. It's dead. Coast team is dead. How do we feed the clubs? Knee-jerking. How do the clubs feed to a national? We are waiting for somebody who has worked his own way and gone outside the country. You only hear that he's out of the country, he's a Ghanaian. Oh, let's call him back. The person has built up a culture. Just like I mentioned about my lifestyle. Yeah. You develop a particular culture, you move to a different culture, you are finding it difficult to adjust. It doesn't work like that. You bring the other people, even the parties who have grown up in Ghana, when they go there, they are now adjusting different. And I can tell you for sure, if you meet any of the professional players and interact with them, most of them will tell you the regrets they have interacting with some of our coaches locally. The time they have wasted with our local coaches. Because most of them will think that our local coaches have wasted their time. Because when they get there and they are exposed to different regiments of training, they realize, oh, wow, they are getting improvement.
So us and our coaches are not up to standard?
Not up to standard. They are also victims.
They are victims of the system.
The system. They are not exposed to quality. They are exposed to what is available. They are victims. They are not. They are enthusiastic to teach, to coach. We have this enthusiastic type of coaching we have in Ghana, but they are not exposed.
Analog coaches in digital era.
I can tell you some of them can coach, but when they ask them to read the game, he doesn't know how to. He doesn't know where the beginning. And coach is an art. It's an art, pure art. So when you get those who know the art, it's easy to operate. They just see that I have to do this, that, and get this. So while they are using, you remember these African games? When we're having the African games?
Yes, yes.
Good. Anytime we're playing volleyball, the Egyptians, technical team, they came with about 5 more people, ICT. Theirs was analysis, game analysis. And they came with complex softwares. So while the game is going on there with their laptops, keying in and feeding the information to assistant coach. So they don't care what you are doing, they are keying in, analyzing. They give. Anytime they call for timeout, the assistant coach is holding the computer and telling them what to do. We are sitting with board, pulling left, right, center, trying to understand. You call the player who doesn't even understand the diagrams, trying to tell him, move here, move here. By the time he gets there, he has forgotten what you have said, he should move. People have moved beyond analog.
So we've been left behind.
We don't want to learn. We don't want to spend money on human resource building, development. And I can tell you for sure, people are moving into the sports industry for what they will get out of it, not the development. That's a fact of it. I'm being blunt.
Doc, I have a question to ask, and I'll come back and ask this question. But this conversation will continue on Saturday at 7:30 p.m. on the Joy News channel. So stick and stay with us.
Ghana for Memamwachio in Dinami. I greet all of you. Welcome to the show that stands for the truth. This show always reminds me of my hall in the University of Ghana back then, Commonwealth Hall. And you know our motto, truth stands. Bitter, sweet, the truth is the truth. No credit, it is what it is. And as always, I'm going to speak the truth to you and the truth to power, holding the feet of those responsible, accountable, holding their feet to the fire of accountability. And that's why this morning I've titled my blunt thoughts, Firefighting Without Firefighters and Planning Without Planners, What the Indices Show. Firefighting without firefighters and planning without planners, what the indices show. Now, I just want to start from here. Today, my focus is on the slides. I have about 17 of them, so I'm going to go very quickly. But I wanted to start with this. Think about it. In recent times, Guyana, you know Guyana. Some people confuse it for Ghana. When you go abroad, they say Guyana? No, Ghana. But Guyana is that country, small though it may be, in a different part of the world. In recent times, they've had an oil boom. And guess what? I've been reading that story, and it makes me happy for them. It makes me sad for us. Because the government decides to give over 100,000 Guyanese, not just those in Guyana, but even those abroad. Once you are over 18 or 18 and above, and you have your national ID to prove that you're a citizen, you are getting 100,000 Guyanese currency. That's the equivalent of about 370 pounds for everybody. The wealth of the nation, the country is managing the wealth and also saying that this is some sort of surplus. Everybody will benefit. 370 pounds. Multiply that by 21. Go ahead. Use your phone or your calculator. Multiply by 21. How much is that? You could do with that at least this month. Adelaide. That's what's happening in Guyana. Here, what we are distributing is debt. Yaboka. The last time I checked, if they distributed our debts, each person would be paying over 22,000 Ghana cedis. That is where we are. And that is why sometimes it is good to put things into proper perspective. So that you know, if you are racing after this party, that party, you know, sit down. Think about the situation. Where am I? And that brings me here. I am so worried about this bit I'm starting with because, Charlie, if fire hits your house, there was this day recently, some months back, I went by this place in Jowulu. I was heading out and I called and called and called different lines, emergency lines, fire service and everything. It took a while before when I was returning, that was when I saw that, you know, the fire service had showed up, by which time a certain structure around Bayura Junction, you can corroborate, Bayura Junction, was getting burnt. And the sad part was it was more of a wooden structure. You know that burns quickly. And other buildings could have been affected. But did you know, according to the Ghana National Fire Service, what I'm sharing with you in the first few slides, they are not from me. They are data from the Ghana National Fire Service. If you look at Ghana's firefighting crisis, the appliances available, which are already a paltry sum, 248, out of which 133 are faulty. Do you know what that means? 115 of them are not working. Completely dysfunctional. They don't function. Next slide. Now, if you go to the next slide, it will show you that that accounts for 53.6% of firefighting trucks in Ghana being faulty. Because apart from those ones you see there, there are others that are not exactly in the best situation. So 53.6%, though it's a smaller number on the other end, but if you put it together, 53.6% of them are faulty. Let's go to the next slide. The breakdown is what begins to scare you. Because if you're in the Upper East region, it means you don't have even one. That's what it means. Upper East region, 16 available trucks. How many are faulty? 16. So if you have a fire situation in the Upper East region, you might as well, you know, start looking for sand and mixing it with water and throwing it on there, depending on what kind of fire it is. OT region, 8 available trucks. 8 of them faulty. So if you're in the OT region, you know what time it is. Volta region, 17. 15 are faulty. 2 Nakano, when will they get to you? Upper West, 14 of them, 12 are faulty. Only 2 are working. Central, 22, 15 are faulty. 7 are left. Next slide. The Ghana National Fire Service headquarters, you know where it is? Getting to Osu. 8 available, 6 faulty, only 2. It appears even in the best of places, you would find maximum 7, 2. How? Greater Accra, 25, 15 are faulty. That leaves us with 10. Look at the size of the Greater Accra region. If you have a fire in some areas, because in some areas too there are concentrations, in some places I don't want to mention, it literally means I'm not saying virtually, literally, you're on your own. Northeast, 5. 3 of them are faulty. Northeast, this is our vice president's region. Western, 16. 9 of them faulty. So you have what? 7 of them active. Highest being 7. Ashanti, well, the highest being the difference here, Greater Accra, 10. Ashanti, 25. 6 of them are faulty. So at least there, 19 of them work, but 6 of them are faulty. Next slide. And you want to ask yourself, with this kind of data, which serious planning country will be here? Guyana, they may not be the best, plushest country in the world, but from their oil wealth and other things, they are even able to say, we've saved enough to do something for the country, and we have an excess, and we are giving over 100,000 of you citizens, once you can prove, and you are 18 and above, 370 pounds. Here, it is debt we are sharing. So, Upper East, 100% in terms of 40 tracks. All of them are faulty. All of them are faulty. The best performing is the northern region, 15.3% of them being faulty. It's also about the number, right? Look at that. Volta, 88%. Upper West, 88.7, 75, 68, 60. Accra, 60%. Northern, Northeast, 60%. And it goes on and on. Why should it be like this? This is why sometimes, I was just reading an article yesterday, and because I read widely, sometimes I can put this into proper perspective. I was reading it about an American who is now in Australia, who says, look, I pay 20 point something percent of my revenue, right? My income in taxes in the US. In Australia, I'm paying upwards of 40%, but at the same time, I get it back in so many ways. So for her, instead of in America, where she'll be paying X amount of dollars and all of that, when she uses a bus, train, tram, all of those things, she's paying cents. In other words, she's saving from there. So what she's paid goes back to help her. If there are emergencies, housing and other things, all of that fits into it. She doesn't pay this property tax. No, in Australia, she doesn't pay it. And so she thinks that even while it is 40-something% there, it makes sense for her. Here, they'll tell you and pay taxes. And then what can you show me? What you are using my taxes for? My roads are bad. Health services are bad. Governance is bad. Practically everything is on its knees. My water is facing crises because of Galamsey. Yet you tell me you want me to pay more taxes. More taxes to do what? Next slide. Now, key areas without firefighting trucks. You know one thing that really got me? The Kolebu area. So we are talking about the most major hospital in our country, maybe if you take away the UGMC, right? It's a teaching hospital. People come from the sub-region here to Kolebu. If there's a fire today in Kolebu, if there's a fire today, there's no fire tender in that area to deal with the fire. Did you know that? That is it. Without a firefighting truck, Kolebu doesn't have it, that area. There's none. It may have to come from a faraway place, likely Ghana National Fire Service headquarters, by which time what must be burnt will get burnt. The Nalerigu Fire Service Regional HQ, nothing. Nasia Fire Post in the Northeast region, nothing. The Tolong area in the Northern region, nothing. This is our country. I know you may be shocked, but this is our country. So please watch yourself. Watch your gadgets. Don't leave gas on and all of that. Take care of yourself, because if there's a fire, believe you me, in some instances, literally, in some instances, virtually, you're on your own. Let's go to the next slide. Now, if you look at the 2024 Afrobarometer survey, when it comes to governance issues, it talks about the most important problems in Ghana, 2024. Unemployment, 41% saying that's their major problem. Infrastructure or roads, 38%. Health, 33%. Education, 28%. Management of the economy, 25%. Let's go to the next slide. Then, the relevant problems in the top 5, increasing cost of living, 21% say this is my major thing. Corruption, 10%. Electricity, 8%. It's interesting that electricity is here. And then poverty or destitution, 7%. And I always say we have, minimum wage in this country, but people are being paid below minimum wage. And the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission is watching. Next slide. The bottom three, you're looking at democracy or political rights, 5%, rates and taxes, 5%, wages, incomes, and salaries, 4%. You make of it what you will. Next slide. But then if you look at the assessment of government in terms of its economic performance, those who say government has performed very badly, 80% in terms of managing the economy. That means only 20% are saying government has done okay. Creating jobs, 81% say government has fared very badly, which puts into perspective the claims that over 2 million, and some would say 3 million jobs have been created. Why do the people still feel this way? I don't know. You answer for yourself. Living standards, 82% say government has performed very badly. Rich and poor gap. In any serious country, you try to narrow the gap between the rich and the poor, the haves and the have-nots. In this instance, those who say it's one of the highest here, the second highest, that government has failed in that, 88%. And price stability, of course, we're talking about the currency here, 91% say government has performed very badly. This one, you don't need to. It's the index that says it. It's clear. Next slide. Now, if you look at vis-a-vis all of these things, the prices of commodities. Recently, I was looking at the differences from around 2012, 2014 to now in terms of cement prices, and I was horrified, right? If you look at a bowl of groundnut, old price, and I'm talking even recently, old price, 21 cedis. Now it stands at 32 cedis, 52 percentage point increment. A bag of groundnuts, 900 cedis. Now it goes for 1,300 cedis, a hike of 44%. A bag of local rice, 250 cedis. Now it goes for 600 cedis, 140% increment. A bag of millet, which used to go for 950 cedis, which itself, I'm using recent values. So these are things that we went to the market, we gauged and everything, and we've put there. It's now 1,250, 31% jump. Bowl of beans, 55. Now it stands at 75, 36% increment. And if you go to the market, you see these. I'm not to tell you. If you look at a crate of tomatoes, I don't need to tell you. A bowl of corn, 20 cedis, now 25% jump. These are our realities. Next slide. Now, if you look at the inflationary rate, and recently the Ghana Statistical Service came out with new inflation for October, another 0.7% increment. But the trend is simple. Apart from the 54% we found at that point in time, the highest from around 2000 that we had ever had, the point is, if you look at the trajectory, we've not really, if you look at this year, look, in January it was 23.5%. Look at how it's gone. 25% here, 23. We are back at 22.1%. If you look at the start of the year and the end of the year, what's the difference there? 22.1, about 1.4 percentage points. We've not gone anywhere. We are exactly where we are. It is what it is. Next slide. Now I'm going to wrap with the Mo Ibrahim Index, right? And that's why I spoke about indices starting this conversation. If you look at the Mo Ibrahim Index of African Governance, focus on sustainable environment, you'd realize that something terrible is happening as far as Ghana is concerned. Ghana suffered the highest deterioration of sustainable environment in the whole of Africa in a decade. I'm talking about between 2014 and 2023. Between 2014 and 2023. The highest deterioration of sustainable environment. And we know part of why. We know part of why. Part of why is Galamsey. Yes. If you look at our drop in the index, it's minus 2.5. Next slide. Now, the key indicators in terms of sustainable environment, promotion of environmental sustainability, enforcement of environmental policies, air quality, sustainable use of land and forests, and we still have LI 2462. Sustainable use of land and forests, forest reserves, we said go ahead and mine. Land and water biodiversity protection, and we've also failed here, woefully, because some of our biodiversity sites, remember Etiwa, and the rest, and the talk about them. How do we even think in this country? Next slide. And then if you focus that same index, the Mo Ibrahim index, on rule of law and justice, it says Ghana suffered the highest deterioration of rule of law and justice. So not just environment where we suffered the highest deterioration. Rule of law, the same rule of law and justice that we've been touting. Ghana suffered the highest deterioration of rule of law and justice in the whole of Africa in a decade between 2014 and 2023. The drop, 14.9%, minus 14.9, if you like, percentage points. So the whole talk about rule of law, rule of law, rule of law. The Mo Ibrahim Index shows that the talk be talk. You know they work like that. Next slide, as we get ready to wrap. And if you look at that same indicator, their focus was executive compliance with the rule of law, executive compliance with the rule of law, impartiality of the judicial system. Don't put words in my mouth. Judicial processes, equality before the law, law enforcement, and public perception of the rule of law. They say he who feels it knows it. Next slide. And this is where we'll get ready to wrap the conversation. Out of the 54 African countries, if you look at our scores, overall governance, we placed 7th. And that's not the best grade for Ghana, by the way. If you look at other previous ones, we've done way better than this. We can do better. So don't be consoled that it is 7th there. Health, 18th. Security and safety, 30th. Anti-corruption, 21st. That's the tail of the tape. So Ghana 4, I've spoken to you this morning. Let me reiterate. Watch your places of work. Watch your homes. Don't let a fire start, because if it starts, you may not. And don't blame the fire service. They don't have what it takes. They don't have the equipment to deal with those situations. They will try their logistical best, but maybe by the time they get to you, take care of your homes, take care of your offices, take care of your schools, your places of work and all that. Because if there's a fire, you may not save anything. The cost of living in this country has gone through the roof, and sometimes we like to play, sycophant politics and pretend it isn't what it is. This exposes the reality, including our inflationary rates. And if you look at the Mo Ibrahim Index and governance and corruption and justice and other things, in 2 key areas, the deterioration is vast. Sustainable environment, rule of law and justice. It's up to you to decide what you will do with the data. I'm a data man. I put it there. You decide what to think, what to do with the data. My name is Benjamin Akakpo. These are my blunt thoughts shared with you, raw, hot, and edited, undiluted. As always, I pray this is our motherland. May God bless Ghana and make her great and strong. And that depends on what you and we do. Thank you for watching.
You're still watching the AM show right here on Joy News. You know, it's just 29 days to go for the 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections. And this morning, we're taking you to the heart of Accra. And it's the diversity and cosmopolitan nature of this place that has made it a hotbed for politics, with the police flagging it as one of the flashpoints for electoral violence in the last elections. This morning, we're taking you to Ododo-Dio constituency to gauge the mood of constituents ahead of the elections. But before we go, Benjamin is standing by with some statistics to put this in perspective, what the voting pattern has been in that constituency. Benjamin, tell us more.
Well, that constituency, Ododo-Dio, is an interesting one if you look at the voting patterns, both for presidential and parliamentary elections. So come with me. Very briefly, if you look at the presidential voting pattern, you would see this blue line and the green one. The blue one representing the NPP, the green one representing the NDC. It's interesting because if you go as far back as 1996, you will see a pattern. The NPP in the presidential election securing about 44% of the votes, almost 45% of the votes. This would shoot up in 2000 to 50+%, and then there would be a decline all the way from 2004 to 2020, below 50%, which would mean that the voting pattern in that constituency has favored the NDC. But if you come to the NDC, you would realize that in 1996, it garnered 53.2% of the votes. Then there was a dip in the year 2000 to 46.6%. And since that time, it has been on the ascendancy, 51.9% in 2004. The gap increased to 57.2% sometime after 2008. 62.4% and 55.38% in 2020. So you would look at a high around 2016 of 62.4%. That's for the presidential, and that gives you a picture about how keenly contested, because if you look at it really, 55% versus 44%, that's about a 10 percentage point. It's not something you can play with. But when we flip it and look at the parliamentary bit in there, let's go to the parliamentary bit. You would see that the trend has not been too different. In 1996, the NDC won the parliamentary, though with what I believe is a smaller margin, and it was just a 3.5 percentage point difference on the parliamentary front. In 2000, just as Kufuor came, the parliamentary candidate of the MPP also won with 51.4%, and a dip there for the NDC by about 6 percentage points, 6.2 to be exact, 43.9%. But since that time, the presidential, race, what has been coming through, has also come through for the parliamentary. So you would see that while the MPP tanked from 51.4% to 46, 41, 36, 41, and 45, which is not bad, the NDC has moved from 43 to 52, 55, 63. Remember that crucial year, 57 and now 53.58. If you look at the figures there at the end, for the presidential and the parliamentary, they are almost the same for the NDC and also similar for the MPP. The question is, heading into election 2024, what would this hot constituency do in the election? The pattern favors the NDC, but the numbers have been declining. The closer they get, you see that the MPP is catching up in that constituency. What does it mean? That is the question. Sweetie Abochi.
Thank you so much, Ben, for putting that in perspective. So I engaged the constituents, specifically at Jamestown, and we're looking at what issues would influence voter choice, what are they doing about it, and really, how are they voting this year? Let's take you to Jamestown, where we had that interaction. Ododo-Dio constituents, we are here to gauge the concerns of the citizens, and because we are engaged Jamestown, we will be mixing the English with Ga. So follow us. Good morning. Thank you all so much for joining us on this is called Citizens Microphone. So this is your microphone. Politicians will hear you out, and then they can factor in the promises they are making for you. Boji, spokesperson for Paramount Chief. I'll start with you, Ben. How are you doing here in the constituency, and what are your concerns?
By His grace, I'm doing well. Our concerns is, I wish the government or the government officials will not even bring ballot box in this area at all. I wish. My reason is, you know, water is life. And we are here as a gang in this community without water. Our taps is not flowing. We've been buying water in cars and in cars. In fact, we are feeling that the government have neglected us. Because when you are living as a human being without water, it means you are dead.
But how long has this been going on?
Oh, it's over 10, 15 years. I am telling you honestly. They know, but they don't mind us. They don't mind. Our tap is not flowing at all. And, you know, you buy water in a water tank. You might not know even what is in the water. Yeah. And you are forced to drink because you don't have choice. Or you should buy pure water and then bottled water. And you know how much it costs. In this community, there's no work also. We don't have specific work that we have been doing here. It's a fishing. You'll be here one day and the government will then come and tell you that the sea has been locked. Nobody should go to a sea to go and bring fish. One way or the other, you can understand because they agree with our leaders, the fishermen leaders, that maybe sometimes the fish must grow in the sea. Agree. But then, stopping that, you must give us something to do, to live. Because the little that we've been getting from the sea is not even enough to take care of us and our children. And then that thing will be locked. And we don't have access to water. Our living here is very, very difficult. So I wish the government or the leaders of the government will never even bring ballot box in our area.
Ben, but you know, voting is your civil responsibility. So, of course, you have water issues and unemployment or lack of jobs for the young people to do. Because most of you are fisher folks. Let me come to you, Aisha. Aisha, Ben ke water ke nichumo be. Mini ekong.
Fine, Beni daddy we nyuma shishi shine. Ake wo ododo dione nwa yo biye. Woni dineke majani bi wa. Eshishiji tomo beni da achonye na ewie wonanga papa ni wonu agbene nwe gbe ken bi ehunwe ananu chumo papa ya bala keke no ko kan hie ya ko eja keshi eni san echon ni le nwe ke ye ni ena awomlan wona light papa wona kan papa mi ni wona gbe ken bi enwe no chumo hu be
okay na kan papa, what do you mean? Ye be kan e be
light off wona light off ni agbene nwe amebe ni chumo na me chumo e wo ka te hie awomlan abanye ketelebi ka ti lebi ka ogbulo bi fan obi ba be na yu oketron gbe ken bi fe awie gbe ken bi e chake jake amebe no ko papa ni support ame ye wo dodo di odo name.
So, quick translation, she's talking about indiscipline because, well, the water situation, she rehashed that, and she talked about lack of jobs for the young people, which is growing indiscipline among them. So they don't sleep early because there's constant power outages, and there's thefts and crime because, you know, there's really nothing to do. And they say the devil does find work for the idle hands. Let's go to, is it Papa? Baba, what will you add to this?
Like my sister was saying, my uncle, it's the same thing. Because if you're a family about 4 in the family and there's no water, you fetch 1 gallon of water, 2 cedi, 50 pesos. You fetch 1 gallon of water, 2 cedi, 50 pesos, and you are 4 in the family. Imagine if you are not working, how will you be able to cater all of them? And this water is life, and it is disturbing us too much in this neighborhood. So we are pleading for the government to see and have solution on it.
Well, I'm curious to know that, okay, before I come to you, since this Fourth Republic, since 1993 or so, you've always voted for one particular party. I'm talking about the NDC. They've always won in the Ododo constituency. It was only in 2000 that I think NPP won. if you've had water crisis, water situation for, you said 10, 15 years now, have you brought this to the attention of the government, your leaders, and what are they saying about it? Let me start with you.
Game I saw na ke wo phone no bomo sumo nu tun ne ke bet ne na ke wo phone no bomo sumo nu tun ke gbe ke bi 80,000 80,000 bi ane ni o chele ake e bu pure water mi e ba ke bu ake e ba because of ho le no ko nle yin shika e phone no na ye te fe ton ba tule no advice le ake no na feel wrong ni eta Sunday pen.
Well, he's also rehashing the indiscipline. They're saying that because of betting and games on the phones, these young ones, when they win some small bet winnings, it's difficult to speak to them, you know, discipline them, even send them on errands and so on and so forth, because, well, they have money on their phones, and you are not giving them anything. You're not providing jobs. You're not providing a safe place for them to live and thrive. And so that's also just to rehash the part about indiscipline. But Ben, I want to find out from you, why do you think that this water crisis has reached the attention of the leaders, but nothing is being done about it?
I would like to express myself in Ghana this time because my people are listening to me. Often, nusane ni wo yo na no be question kwa question. What a politician say in yada ne won vote one one party ni da ne si mino ni I mean when you what confront what can you so na ke ni ni tumo be bia wo amebalaka oblanya bia ke ska wo no kwa ni wo yen fa ni ekole wo le no ni ya no ni ekole wo ba sumo no wo fe ke aya han gbe kan bia ska fio 20 Ghana 100 Ghana because ni tumo be wo ka me ke by force am am so wo ka me wi am promise wo ka me ba me fe no
10-15 years is it not too much for the same thing to be happening?
I am telling you honestly, it is about 10-15 it can be more. Seriously, we have water issues here, very serious. So, minekele me kake ballot board ba machine be me vote because mono ba vote anle e ba ke ba fe ke ba efi ni ke ba na efi wen onyo jile onyo mole e jaga ekule no ba ya me party ba power no kokele avigiri bo den tawa mo.
They don't want to vote this year because it's the same cycle, non-ending cycle. They make promises. They tell these politicians, oh, leave him. These politicians, their grievances, they make promises. They come to power and they don't do anything about it. And so they don't even want to vote at all this year because they think it's just going to be a repeated cycle. I've seen some young men here joining us. I want to take your views as well. We are gauging your concerns as citizens going to the polls with just some 40 days left for us to vote. Your elders, should I say, have spoken about water crisis. They've spoken about lack of jobs for the youth. They've spoken about indiscipline, also because there's nothing for the young people to be doing. What do you add to this?
Because noni onukpa leaders anukwale ameye anukwale ha youth hani wo he ame wo ye amba malio wa ababa go t-shirt 20 Ghana ni wo follow ya demonstration after that e be no ohia ba mi bola ka twa me ko tane tun me ko epla mi no wa me dwen o man bi ai wo no wa vote ke wo continue no ba vote na maya parliament ke shebe amele wodon wa fine wo miefu nunjio yonjio ke red ni sa ni ke ye president wa vote one red ni blue ni sa ke ye president wa vote one blue.
Okay, Isake, what does that mean? Help me, I didn't get that well.
Ma, yeah.
Okay, if it is possible. Okay, so he's also basically saying that these politicians have a way of giving you t-shirts, 20 cedis, I mean small amounts of money, and then making you think they are on your side, so you vote for them. But then the same thing, you vote for them, they don't do anything for you. But he acknowledges that it's important that we vote and put, you know, the right leaders in office. And you're saying that if it is red, if it is possible, what? Something about red and blue. Okay, sir. Can you do that in English for me?
Possible for we to vote for a red person, we vote. If it is possible for we to vote for a blue person, we vote. That is what he's saying.
Okay, that's what you're saying. So you also want the politician to start acting on their promises that they're making for you. Okay, so that's basically it. Otherwise, you will not vote. But what would it take to change your mind this year to vote? Because you have to vote. Your elder is saying that they won't vote. What would it take? What can we do? We just have 42 or so days to go.
Tap flow. We need water to live our life. Water is life. Life is water. We are pleading to the leaders that they should see to us so that we can have potable water to drink and to use for our other things.
Okay. There's another young man here.
Okay. Good morning to our viewers and then our listeners. My opinion is basically on traditional leaders. It's not always about our politicians. It's sometimes basically on our traditional leaders because we have opinion leaders. I think I can and I think I can politicians being it the MP alone ameje wekumi ni gamenji ame no okay what up flu mini jino ni wo mancheme ke wo wulo mo amefio ye no it's beyond politics. No crisis any face off is beyond politics. Keji mokogbo during the moment of campaign. Ofanemo is not coming from a family. What's the family doing about it? Nothing. So at the end of the day, it's also comes back to what youth and what you're being. It's hard time. We need to, bring out the truth. Let's face the opinion leaders in the community. What goes straight to, our traditional leaders. Woman cheme, ameteshi. Na mewawo. Because keji no kubonyote no. Weku eno ni one flop. The moment ni youth in Bope. Benoya nye ba kuchumi because you te niji wo oblanye woji future woji noya wokeji noya be ogbe agbe wo there's nothing. Last 4 years agboye odododi odo over na mimbi was in a TV station is nationwide wo fe won kwe wonu aka agboye odododi odo mimbi sani aket. So now me ne happen Madam Presenter me no nu aka afi. What's the question? Have you heard anything against Meni Begbamo? Money go on ake family ba out ake ba we ake $1. So you can this year once and they are making the promises they have been doing. And so as I'm telling you, death will be coming if the traditional leaders and opinion leaders are not rising up to fight for us. Then the youth will fight, and if the youth fight, it means there will be a problem. So this is my view that the opinion leaders should try and then come and then help us also, and then the traditional leaders.
I think that's quite clear. He's talking about the traditional leaders, opinion leaders, who are actually the first point of call. If something happens in the community, we are first looking to families and the people who, are leading the various communities. We actually have the spokesperson of the Paramount Chief here. I'll come to you to respond to some of the things he said, but I do want to take your opinion, and then we'll continue the question.
Abe iwe mo fi oni yo ken wa kutu eminji wo gbejiano to pi ni wo leader say ameje moko sande whether many for politicians say ke wo leader say mancheme wolo moy onupa iwe kume na me holo shan jami moko ye ma sande no ni ma denje sumo no ne fio one ke okwe wo osha clinic anyo mogo bay wale na kele ya hospital ye osha clinic atin road e fin ni keji o kan mogo jebi ekete kolebu ni hotel direct aba suebu ro sani oya osha clinic onyo ya le direct baja abo la ba ke ngboje o nje Jamestown mi namo abo wo lo aka oba bie ro sani school jeme onupa ni ko ma no ke maja cheme ame hingbe ayin jeme ni baba wo wala yi one ni wo fi our program here ye gane ake politics here e klofin abaka wo ba nu oba wanye keke Manchester keke Brian Bieska keji buko ye ni tumo yala ne abanya fe ye buko keka ko akinya moko me personal keji etuni ye jeme na ba ball ne hiska lelenche ba ye kotokumi politics e ko hale na kanu akawa ke o zunla yo aba ma e ko le na ka oyin bola no te wa chi osu e ahe boska ko te je ganyo bi ko me be jeme ni etuni ye jeme akona kinya mo flee na etu eni na gen wa politicians onukpa iye ni sana mi teji na mi hie na mi koni gan wana wo gan ese no ni di enyo onake beni macha agbo na ayo jemene abanya fe yala 3 alo 2 si onukpa ewe noko ano ye jeme mogo ewe akobuko mogo ewe ke mo via mo teji e ba chigbe no ni ka chigbe be bigin bi efe ni sana me holo tuji ami ame holo hia jami na me na heko na me susu ni aye me fi baba yin egbe no ke mo go yanu tumo na agbe police ni yo alo mo go ambulance yo na chigbe na agbe onu mi ji no he ni wo fi o program ye gane esa no onupa teji na me ta o heko aha wo eja ke je no fi anu wa fi ye egbe no onu mi ji agbene me ni fi politics here the whole Ghana fi school na ma fi agbe fi na si ododo di odo na pe party go ba ye another 8 years agbe school na ekon se ba ye 8 years agbe school na wododo di odo na pe shagbe dan soma Russia AP agbe fin na si wododo di odo na pe school na mama ofin agbe na especially kinkane abu wo yakunta do keje bia ne ke ya ebe English alo bu ododo di odo ne abu wo yakunta no won pa onupa e fai keje ame bowo tuwe ame fa ame nani agbene nutumu ni se na onupa anyi wo yin ke ya akani gbegen bi ewo ame no onupa ewo ame no be da agbe ewo nyon won pa ame fai wa ame wo ame no awo.
So 3 things. He's talking about access to hospitals, funerals and other events in the roads that blocks, easy flow of human beings in the community when they are going about their daily life, and the traditional leaders who are not leading the charge to demand accountability from these politicians. Did I get all right? And then uncompleted schools. That's a very important one because they've been here for 8 years now. It was started, it hadn't been completed. Another party came in power, a school has been abandoned, and the students are just suffering and all that. So they're pleading with governments to come to their aid, otherwise they're not voting this year. Aisha, you've been saying Anokwale.
Anokwale ni you bena you nyoma shishi shini. Eja ke mi pogbe kenji mi kenken ba wo mi sempe school ni machine. Amunya kwa ngbe sempe school na. Ni mi to ma bi onukpa ni ji wo yin lo e. Ta flacha ke an show na nga mini decision mo na ke nga show e da tete be na form mami form me ina kwa ka nga show dan ina kwa ka nga show dan no won show na nga won smo na cho won show shishin ke ki ke lo na bagbe o na ke ya wo yin onye lo e ni won na menya me kamera ni amashi je ne ke ni bi ai sempe school e mashi ke de che anya kwa gbe na gbe ke bi pie ya school awusa go mi le una kan Niko bi na me ya ask ta flache betomo ote no batu keke won pa sai onukpa metesi na me fe ekun awo she won gbo.
She doesn't understand why they will lock the sea or prevent them from fishing on certain days, right? They want a proper education on that and why it is even necessary to do that. But even before this lock and key started, I bet there are days that I am Shona because I need.
So
you just want to understand why, the reason behind the locking of the seas. It appears that at the center of all the problems you have, the traditional leaders or opinion leaders and community influencers like yourself are supposed to be leading the charge to demand accountability from these politicians, talking about funerals and weddings and the rest in the roads. These are things that community leaders or the traditional rulers can fix. They're talking about debts, during the election season and demanding that our politicians and government actually accounts to you what comes out of those debts. So what are you doing as traditional rulers to ensure that at least you are doing your part? And then if the government is not minding you, you can tell your people that, well, we did A, B, C. What are you doing?
So, Mike, what for your argument here, BNA? She yomo ekomena yui ni eshi o mancheme. Akene meji na yui loken hani akang bajem Parliamentary fe o ma yui ekomai. Si jeno won fi argument. Kaji nyeme akake mancheme efi no koe. For example, ke o achin loligbe ni manche bakake yala na afio eje akpa ne kole me fo ameda. It is the duty of AMA. Some go to them and take permit. Some are not. So when somebody go to AMA and take permit to come and block a road, can the chief ask the person not to block? No. It is the duty of AMA. They have the power to control the roads, not a chief. Chief can say when they don't respect, it has nothing more to do than AMA who normally give permit or deny a permit. It is their role to either, like my brother was saying, he says when you are going to the Osha clinic, you might see sometimes the road will be blocked. And it was only one way because from Akotolante to Osha clinic, unless you go round all the way to Swalaba before you can come. So when that road has not been given permit to one particular person to come and block, it cannot block it. And it's a duty of AMA, even when we have no control. When somebody mounted a canopy thinking that is having a funeral or outdoory, and one chief went there and said, stop it, and the person didn't stop, the chief cannot do any other thing. It is a duty of AMA to come and find out why did the person broke the road. Maybe the person has permit. How did the person got permit? Because it was the same AMA who permit the person to block the road. So when somebody didn't get access to the clinic, it is not a duty of the chief. Now, one person asked of they shoot somebody and they haven't heard anything. It is under investigation. So chiefs cannot come out and come and say where they have reached and where they are going. It is a pure investigation lies on the police.
What's the communication between the families of the people who lost their lives and the traditional leaders and the police? Is there anything?
Yeah, they are communicating very serious. They are updating them on everything, but they same people have tell them not to broadcast whatever they are information they are getting from everybody. When it's happened like that, then perpetrators will get an information and run away.
So he's saying that traditional leaders are doing their bit. It may not be enough for the citizens, but you're also doing your bit. About blocking of roads, it falls in the jurisdiction of AMA. You have no control over that. This is still Citizens Microphone. We are in Jamestown, the Ododo Constituency, to gauge the concerns of the people, what will influence their voter choice come December 7th. I want to hear from one last person, and then I'll come around for quick final thoughts, and then we can go.
And quality she MPP can discount me bar me malio. Two when you been a school like free education. Free education, go wash a school let me no buy if a free education. When you work up be a school, but more hey ni no pay school fees no more a simple can hour. One wish, Obano no ano quani like free education. If we do yin skaka, scalo yin at far. One far boy expect akashi, if when you caught the I no. Okaskapi agbene ko temwe bo mwebe eyin bo kula agbo bia onyesia school le sepe school le be ni nyame yuwe na ka pepepe school le machine sla market e machine agbene London machine one day machine na me laka wo MPP fe na me laka wo te wo ba fe wo one thing ka me amba na me ka ko vote me aba fe ne ka fe aba bu t-shirt ka 20 Ghana e ko ba lo ko 50 alo 100 oba anye follow kata bomba kokwe na lole eno ba chon baba agbebu onuji wo won pa fai efi aye konya aka won pi e Ghana ne
t-shirt ke 20 cedi nya pa he momo emi no onye here because if you take it
agbene nwe me ni he amen he se kwari bo o feel like she president ni ba lo MP ni ba nye wabo o no anu bo ba fe mi ni o ba nye se kana kan ona ni agbene ka o nye se na kan ta agbene o tie je mo ka esu ebu onu jiji
Well, I was just saying that they should stop taking their 20 cedis and their T-shirts. I mean, and they're saying, well, there's no money in the system. But she was also talking about the Semper school abandoned and completed, and the fact that free SHS goes beyond paying school fees. The education is a holistic matter, and then just paying school fees is not enough to cater for the needs of the students when they go to the school. So they need more in terms of feeding and access to books and all that. Right. One last person, and then we wrap up.
Yeah, minga nye name. Joy news. No ni ba naji. Na ga nye me na me you about be na chinkani bi. Ni kan ko na kan be na chin is once a while. Ikwe e me on about chigbe. Shika wo ko wo enwo yo. O na ke bo modesa eto ni bi ka je hia. Ni kwa ma street be no. Bo modesa e ko shika e ka Smith. Ni ka Smith street be no. E ka fe ba. Gumade se koshika eka Smith script benu e shike na egbe enu ni anane sare nye kwa nya stop la ke no mami alo papa no ofi o ehin shini afetu mo ko UAP afetu on ekole be mo no oyu be mo ni fe na kan ni o e nchele onu mishi it's a wrong thing ko street en kan shin street eda kios ke ba ke ni bi na fe tent na shike mo gbeji an e an gbe FAB bi o ke wo bi ba fo gbe mi pole nche ekwe ba fo gbe mi mo ko echi tent alon we fe no ko ekwe ke wo fo enu lo le twale onu shi ne ke tumbe na you about ni ne gbe na chi o yala ke ni bi ne fine ke je ekwe mi inter me no igdale mi no naji je bi ana bun bechi because of gan e se ekwe wo ifa no ekwe ni sani ekole ahia ke bi ke wo ku ne ba fe nokuwe e ba fi ejemi amamu twin ke wo jemi nigbe me yemi onu mi shi fine park ji ni yo bi e ne ko le ba nya fi yala e no wa be ke park e mo ni egbo e na ba fi yala ana me family house di na kan park e no lu park e ni kan jemi ekwa ni manche hin ni alu e ko le wo kuko no ni onye oje ohia no wa fi yala e moko hia wo asuma shekole eno hia yo o fe yala ye o hia no hia gbe ni yo je ne kole wa shi tente gwe bibio ni wo so no ke ba gbe enu no ba chi o ba shi tente shino ni gba na pe sani ke ba chi gbe an wo na wole ake o so wa alo so wa working day lo le jin o no be right ko ba chi gbe Sunday ni gbe kan shi gbe efe free no chi no junu ba je ewa wo ni radon.
Thank you all so much. And he was also talking about building kiosks and shops in front of houses that blocks or reduces the size of the road, that eases flow of citizens and businesses and cars. And that they need prior notice. Maybe they have to inform them that on a Sunday or so, they are going to have a ceremony and they might block the road. So basically access to information on what's happening in the community and so on and so forth. But I do want to ask you, final question before I go. You definitely have to go to the polls on December 7th. Who are you voting for?
My vote is my secret.
Well noted. What about you?
It's a secret.
Oh, we can't all just say it's a secret. I mean, we know your voting pattern, right? From 2000 was the only year that I think NPP won. NDC has won throughout all the elections that we've had. Who is getting it this time?
If we vote or we don't vote, we know it's NDC always. MPP is not doing anything. NDC is not doing anything. If you go out to vote, NDC will win. If you go out not to vote, NDC will win.
Why is that the case? If you vote or you don't vote, NDC will win. Why?
It's because the members in Ododio, we are taught and we are learned that it is NDC. So they themselves, the MPs, they are aware that if we were here and then they interviewed our incumbent MP, and then he was asked the new PC coming, which is Honorable Nyashi Kote, the PC for NDC, and then the PC for MPP, who is Manaf. They asked the MP, what do you think? He said NDC is automatically winning. They are looking for the margin.
So
it is at Onua. He was interviewed. He said they are waiting for the margin. They are not waiting for who will win. So automatically.
So do you all agree that this is an NDC zone?
Anukwale nyuma shishi.
Okay. Ben.
I am very sad about what my brother is saying. Very, very, very sad. Because the reason why I say vote is a secret, you don't have to, declare whom you want to vote for. You have to listen to the message of the people who are coming to seek for our vote, and then you decide. So when he says that, even when you come out and vote, NDC will win. Even if you didn't come out and vote, NDC will. Does it mean that NDC is always stealing voting from here? No. It's not stealing. That is what they made in their mind. And they decided to vote for NDC because of what NDC is telling them. And so when you have now found out that NDC is lying to you, it's about time for us to change our vote and find out who will come and do something better for us. That's all. Because as I'm saying, for about 15 years that we are not having water, NDC knows. And they have been coming to power and come and go. They have not doing anything about it. So why are we still voting for NDC then?
This is Citizens Microphone right in the heart of Jamestown in the Ododo-Diodio constituency. The citizens are talking about access to potable water, access to good schools. They're talking about jobs for the people, the residents in the community, more education or an explanation as to why they lock the sea and prevent them from fishing, since most of them are fisher folk. So it makes little to no sense to them. And then they're talking about proper regulation in terms of activities or ceremonies in the middle of roads that blocks access for both citizens and vehicles. Thank you all so much for sharing your views with us on Joy News. We are live on Joy News. So this has been Citizens Microphone with me, Sweetie Abochi. Thank you for watching.
And there you have it. So from the Ododo-Diodio constituency, we are back here in the studio. And I have with me our very own Sweetie Abochi, my in-house guest. Sweetie, how are you feeling? On the back of going to that constituency.
And I learned that it's Ododo-Diodio. I think they should change it to Ododo-Diodio because it sits better in my mouth.
It sits better in your mouth. The people there say it is Ododo-Diodio.
Yeah.
But the spelling may trick you, but the pronunciation would get you there.
Yeah.
But that was an interesting conversation from that constituency.
Yes. Yeah. Imagine waking up every day to funerals and weddings, on the streets with no explanation whatsoever. And your
places have been blocked.
Yeah. And they're telling you, well, we don't have it, we can't do anything about it. I think it's very unsettling. But let's bring you some important pieces of information. Let's start from CompuGhana. This year's CompuGhana cashback has been named as Prime Cashback Season, and it's packed with incredible deals and exciting surprises. Now, this Prime Cashback, CompuGhana is bringing you exclusive discounts, prime savings, and awesome surprises when you shop products from any of their branches nationwide. You can find products from your favorite brands like Samsung, LG, TCL, HP, Lenovo, Dell, Media, Nasco, Techno, Infinix, Itel, Huawei, and many more. Visit any of CompuGhana branches nationwide and enjoy exclusive discounts on all products. CompuGhana has a wide range of IT-related products, mobile phones, electronic products like laptops, printers, desktops, mobile phones, did I mention that already? Tablets, television, fridges, home, air conditioners, gas cookers, you name it all. And what's more amazing this year is that this year's Prime Cashback with CompuGhana has got great prices with instant gifts and cash prices for your shopping experience. When you shop at CompuGhana this season, be on the lookout for the surprise team. Answer a question correctly and win instant cash and gifts. You deserve this opportunity too. So rush to CompuGhana now. The promo runs from now to December. Visit www.compughana.com or simply call 0302-752-020 for more information. And that's not all. Benjamin will tell you more and I'll tell you some more.
Well, they say your health is your wealth, and that's why I want to introduce you to Medicas Hospital, a modern healthcare facility built with your recovery in mind. They have spacious wards built with your family in mind, a warm and caring pediatric unit built with your children in mind, and they have also assembled some of the brightest minds in medicine, led by Dr. Yawasafo, the drive-time doctor, to serve you. They're also offering general medical services as well as specialist services in plastic surgery, obstetrics, gynecology, child health, urology, psychiatry, and eye care. Additionally, they're offering a comprehensive medical diagnostic service encompassing endoscopies, medical laboratory services, x-rays, and scans. And if you're looking for medicine, if they prescribe them for you, they have there a 24-hour pharmacy ensuring you receive efficacious, safe, and affordable medicine. And also, they are bringing to you the most powerful medicine of all, simple human kindness and empathy. They take pride in holding themselves to the highest attainable standards, and they accept all forms of payment, including from private health insurance companies. Locate Medicas Hospital at number 10 Kinto Street near Ashaleboche School Junction. You can reach them on 0501 477 340 or on social media at Medicas GH. Medicas Hospital, a place of healing.
You know, I enjoy bringing you these important pieces of information that these brands trust us to deliver to you. So now let me tell you about my favorite one, Syntex Tank. Now, Ghana, get ready for the biggest giveaway from Syntex Tank. Syntex is giving 15 communities free water. And this is simply to say thank you, Ghana, for making us the #1. Syntex was the first to introduce double-layer tanks in Ghana. Do you know that Syntex tanks come in so many different colors and sizes, and was also the first to come out with inner white layer tanks? So when it's not Syntex, forget about it. Now, if you're a community and you want to benefit from the Syntex free water giveaway, just log on to their social media handles across all social media platforms. They are Syntex Ghana, and nominate your community. The more you nominate, the better chances of Syntex coming to your community. And remember, it is Syntex, S-I-N-T-E-X, Syntex tank. No be any tank be tanko. The correct tank be Syntex tank. Syntex tank, a strong, a tough. Now, what's coming up next on the AM show then?
Well, it's just turned 18. Some prospective first-time voters at the Kwame Nkrumah Circle fear they may be unable to participate in the upcoming elections after city authorities raided where they call home, the street, and burnt their belongings, including voter ID cards. For many of these young men and women, it would have been their first time of voting, a significant moment now threatened by their precarious living conditions. They've been speaking to our very own Lois Shola Adeyemi on our latest episode of Just Turned 18. Enjoy.
Hello there, and welcome to Just Turned 18, where we speak to first-time voters on the issues that will influence their decision to vote. My name is Lois Shola Adeyemi, and we're coming to you from Kwame Nkrumah Circle, right here in Accra. Now today, I am going to be engaging very young boys and girls who are living their lives on the streets. I'm going to be finding out from them what made them move here. Are they comfortable? What is the life on the streets looking like? Now, even though they are facing challenges on the streets, some of them are first-time voters, and I have them with me, and I'm going to be finding out from them the issues that will influence them to vote in the elections. Are they ready to vote? Today, we are also going to be discussing issues on education, security, employment, finding out their very unique views on these, and also get to understand what they want, their hope for the future. But before we get into the conversation, let me say a very big thank you to my sponsors. Star Ghana Foundation, Youth Bridge Foundation, Petrosol Platinum Energy, the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, together with the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants. Let me also say a very big thank you to the German Ozone Medical Center and to Chopbox Technologies for making this conversation happen. Now, my first-time voters are behind me. They are ready, and we're going to be speaking to them. Hello, guys. How are we doing? Are you give me energy? Hello? All right. Are we okay? Yeah. Also, for the purpose of this conversation, we are going to be mixing Chi with English. So you'll be hearing Chi and English in this conversation. Now, let me speak to you guys. I hope everybody is doing well. We are okay. Yeah, exercise kakrana. Let's go. Aisha, let's go. All right. Now that we are active, let me come to you. Now, I want to know, what made you leave home onto the streets? What moved you from home to the streets?
Okay. Why is that? I just finished my GHS last 2 years, but nothing is going on at home. I have only mother, I don't have father. So my mother is suffering. So I just decided to talk to my mother to come to Accra and work for something. If I'll get back home. If I don't get to, I stay at Accra.
So you just decided to move to Accra on your own? I see. But don't you have family members here?
Around me here. They are far places.
They are not here?
They are not here.
But you have family members in Accra?
Yes.
And do they know you are here?
Oh, some of them know, some of them too don't know.
So what is life on the streets looking like? What job are you doing now?
Right now, I don't have a specific job, but I have something how to mouth, like we have something called bala bala. We carry load on our head, we take it, they give us something small. That's what we need to buy for the needs.
I see. And is that giving you money?
Not enough.
Where do you sleep?
He said.
Where do you sleep at the end of the day?
Oh, we sleep under this our bridge. Where the overhead is, we are all under the overhead.
All right, let me come to you, Aisha. I want to find out. At the end of my life, I say, what will live your life on the street?
Because I like I want to stay for my grandmother. Because I do for work here. I said Orange, me and some woman. That woman go like village. Me, I come here, I come to sleep over. I say I want to sell pure. My grandmother dey Nima and my sisters. My mother dey America. My father dey Dodua. And me and my father I talk every day, the phone. And she said come back. I said I don't get, like I want to save money small before I come.
But are you getting money on the streets? Are you getting money?
Yes, it's not.
Are you able to save?
Yes.
I see. But why did you decide to get up? Did they ask you to move out of the house?
No.
So you decided to move out of the house.
Yes.
Why?
Because no, my mother in the house. I don't feel okay.
Because your mom was not in the house?
Yes.
She said your mom is in America. Do you speak to her?
No.
You don't speak to your mother? I see. So you just decided to come. Your father knows you are here. He's been asking you to come home, but you don't want to go.
Yes, I want to save the money before I go there.
You want to save money? But if you save the money, who are you going to help with the money?
I'm going to help my father and my sisters before my mother comes.
All right. Okay. Now, Amma, the person who then the man will free fee. I can't sell person over in the streets. So how you say, why you who? I didn't know we decided to sell over 50. I bet I live this life. And I'll be share.
No, because my father and my mother don't have some. My family has some, but they won't support us. That is why I came here.
Do you live in Accra?
Yes.
You live in Accra. Your family members live in Accra?
Yes.
Do they know that you're here?
Yes.
Have they reached out to you? Are you almost frail?
No.
In Sejuma Bay na way or Sekawa?
I hope a woman is some food.
Where are they? What's me catching?
Yes.
And to kind catching.
Membua mam be a year journey. Yeah, a good banu a journey.
And see, Ochiao every day, and
yes.
Now, I want to miss a visitor.
Yes.
As you can know the day.
I want to go and help my parents.
You want to help your parents? Yes. So your parents, they support the fact that you're on the street. Almost support the sell what she's not.
No.
And your mother saw Waha. Or Makato Seberifie.
Yes.
But it's now better.
I don't want to go because if I go home now, I won't feel happy because my parents don't have some.
Okay. So she said that because her parents don't have at all, she has decided to give herself out, come on the streets, work hard, get some money, and take it back home to take care of her parents, even though she wasn't forced to. Hey, I would die. Where do you sleep?
I sleep on veranda.
On the veranda? All right. Okay. So let me come to you. And it's now decided to be 50.
If you face him behind my baby, Ejuma.
Ejuma Bank.
Let me do meat.
Who be doing meat? Now, Mamma and Papa Moon saw her there.
Mamma and Papa and Mrs. Stanley, Miss Moa.
Oh, Mamma and Papa, the Omunim.
Omunim.
Now sister Kwande ni.
Mr. Kwande ni msemwa.
Ma adins na wo dey decide say wo beba. Ejuma bebre wo adins na we decide say we ya na obey.
Ya me decide say meba ni say na me yegala me say adwuma. Na baby I want na do small so just for some mla one man one bullet. Na am defeat hon mam de ba ase.
Nti ekwan ne ye hu nti ejuma na we ye ne ye hu nti na obaye.
Pachan.
Na obedi mate.
Pachan.
We wo bisia wo bisia wo Accra.
Pacha dey bi. Mbapa ne baba ko na wa na zo ni baby oti.
And so, chairman, what's your life story? Tell me about your life.
Ba say no, my life no there. You feel comfortable there. My life na eba sa mama. We feel the name me say my life you good man. You do ya say no, my life eba sa. And get person here work across government no zo no. It me boy a corporate office. The billion ko din komo. E ko do no ma, be fond be kan say the monko ye twen ho ye twen wi a ye beba. Ya twen ya mo ye bia nso ma, ye wa say na 3 days time na asafo ba on be pack ye niam ni nyina e de gu ba bi no mo hye no am say aso mo bia na ha na ha se mo bia na election time zo dura wi government ni zo ba start so be ba ba ye ho se ngoto aba ye ni eje nyina afu ne be start se be to aba to o ye ne wa bia no mo ato abada government ni so anye bibia mo aye no am be bia na no am be bibi kakran am bia va mo ho ban ya ye so no about so we there street is so for ne bia no be to aba bia ho no the government bia asema ka ho man.
All right. And remember if ya day and the ma wo fifie catch me your life story I buy one wo fe then the ma wo fifie ka say oh ba sheet na so
oh me I am a person say na me ni ti me na ordinary by me ni e kwa ka say oh pani see I'm not going to pay and do 1 week clown what me buy inch that years. What me buy oh when me go school. We do class 3 to class 4. And when me day school, me mama so what them not doing. So ko wala ba ofro ba say o timi hwe bedam ni. And I'm mama so wala in 20 minutes am. When I want me day school na me here no. Mission to okwati domre nche o. Australia no o ye galamsi. No, no, say, me Yakituano, young quadruple. The down, na me yare. The young contour by an young corner coaching copper wire. And not the booming. Tea, any fear and it fever could have mentioned upon an net fever upon a police case. No, matching. See, on matching to emblem ye, no. And was say, minting action at the only mint every. No, upon me. Free if you got now, Master. Oh, because one power was why is a horse in a yaman and back, but don't be a water. When I am swam, why am I a car for bombing? Car the woman, shop your question second, when I'm letting me a giant and a boy show. Oh, and say, no, not see away. And it's go. Was scanning. I told you a quaculana. They can't play 1 week. They be a me cross me actually. Look, be a crumb sawas. Janet.
Never found out what that.
I am a bit of dog by head, yes.
All right, about who? Miss Persemi who? Obia catch me on my life story. Then the ma wo sorry for you. I can't say, never be that street so I age Mawaha. Catch me.
Pacho. Me mama de wono ofini ana ode me mama kitchen na net ti me mama de na o pemasi ti e wo ha I can say o mama ending into on fan send me ba ti o so pemasi ti na me de yes kana me ba kra
nsenu na ba
pacha
o mama en show nti na o papa
de ono no de American to adwane free Organic, wait for the penalty.
And to see how mammy no papa way.
Mammy there, or Wawalin to Wawal to an ebe manage or boss.
No, name so, Hadia. We are my way, or name on Frown pool. All right. So let me use this quick second to explain so far those who have spoken Chi. So I spoke to this young gentleman who says that they are on the streets, they are not getting anything. They get a lot of politicians come on the streets and say, we will give you this. They make a lot of promises, promising them all all they want to hear, but they don't do any of those things. Recently, they've battled with AMA, who says they shouldn't sleep on the streets. They have nowhere to sleep. But because AMA is also sacking them, they end up sleeping in very obscure places, places that are not neat, not hygienic, and it's disturbing them. Because of that, he says people on the streets have said that they do not even want to vote. They are not interested in anything that has to do with the elections. I spoke to Mayfia, who told me that she, because her parents don't care about her father got married to another woman, and then they ended up sacking her from the house. After he manhandled her, he was arrested. When he came back, he said he didn't want anything to do with her again. And then he sacked her from the house. Now she's on the street prostituting. She says even with the prostitution, she's not getting anything to eat, and she's falling sick most of the time, with no proper health, with nothing and nobody to help her. Now the gentleman I also spoke to says that his mom doesn't even take care of him. So at the end of the day, he chose the streets because that is the only place he can be able to fend for himself, get money to buy food, and even look after himself. And this is what is happening on the streets. Now let me find out from you. At the end, I want to decide to say, or now streets.
I left home to come and find a job so I can support my family.
Do they know you are here?
Yeah.
Tell me about you, your family. Let me know.
We are an extended family.
Okay.
So there's no money. There's no one working to help us. So we do it ourselves. My mom is a market woman. My dad is a carpenter.
Okay.
And my brothers, they have no help. So when I completed school, I told myself I will not be like them. I will try to survive and help them out.
And that's why you're on the streets. Yeah. But what are you doing on the streets that you think is okay for you to help them?
When I came here, I got no job. So there's some baller here. We go and work there. Sometimes we sleep by the baller side.
You end up sleeping by the baller side. Are you able to make the money?
Not that much.
Have you been able to help your family since you got here?
No.
Have they asked you to come home?
Yeah.
But why don't you want to go?
I went to visit them and I came back.
But why didn't you stay?
I can't stay.
You can't stay.
I want to make it in life.
Make it. The streets is the place you think you can start with?
But there's no job that I can do. There's less job in the country, and I want the government to help us.
But you went to school, didn't you?
Yeah.
Where did you reach before you stopped?
I completed school this year.
SHS?
No, JHS.
JHS. And you don't want to further?
I want to further.
But why? Why haven't you furthered?
There's no money. And I have no one who can help me complete SHS or continue.
So my next question, I want to find out, when we say election, it's the elections. Politicians know, omako baby, omo release omo manifesto, omo bwa streets ne so, ebini mo de mo akasa, eden no mo akacha mo so far. So I'm saying that politicians have come on the streets, me bwa. Omo be keka nyama, omo promise say omo ba ombe ye nyama. Then no mo akacha mo. What have they told you guys? I want to find out. Let me start with you. So politicians have come on the streets, haven't they?
Yes.
And they've been speaking. What are some of the promises you've heard so far?
They have promised us a lot. They have been saying we want to vote and GM come to be a president. Now we find a shelter for you, we find a job for you. But all they are saying, we have not seen any improvement in it. But they always continue saying that.
I see. Aisha, is that the same thing you've heard? He said politicians in the bar or say, I almost say, oh, yabama mwejuma, yabama modine, but up to now, is that what you've also heard?
Yes.
Okay.
Every day she come here, give me paper, say want to help me work and give you where you sleep. And I say, that number I call, say me and come and meet here somewhere. I cry. I say me I don't go there. This is how it's here.
They said come and meet him in Accra. Did you go?
No.
Why?
Because me I want to go. Like I don't want to go. Because my mother told me, say somebody call me, say come this side, let me go.
Don't go. All right. Ama, now what to say in your man? You say politicians in bad streets and so on. Then what to be? What are some of the things you've heard?
They said they will give us a safe place to sleep. Where we are sleeping are not good. They will give us a good work to wear and give us a good pay. But we are not seeing them again. What they have come and say, but we are not seeing anything.
Right. You are not seeing anything?
Yes.
All right. Now when I would say, election ba. Ebi mo asamba ha, e na den ya no mo aka.
Nipa be bla ba say, MPP for kwamba ba yanim, abefa ye de akọ campaign. Omo de akoduru ye so campaign no. Omo se akodu a, omo be Ghana card am, asa de afi campaign ase aba. Campaign mu no ye pon ye no, ye ko hu MP ka che say, enya de oba so be Ghana card, oba se ne be ya, akoma beto ye me be di na chi di no. No be sere ye ya di na chi ko ye. E ho no in fact me bufu pa. Isa na ye penini no, omo na me di ngala ni me de omo ko ye. I do a no gamia I did not tell. The police for I'm trust na me buy. In the few on me samba ba come san buy. Na me ka jo mo se nya de be do on ma come so election time ni dura aba no yekoto a yemhwe modern se be be to am. Na mo so mo be be bi san se mo papa be na mo am de ba mai ka dada no 8 years ni. An come va mai. Ye kan no bi na no ka chen se nyem de bo asema ye ho. Na mo hihia ade papa me bi san se ba de. Ade ba kwa kan ni se election time ni ekodu on ma yekuku motino. Yeah, Van to Aban, when I say any Scandinavia, Yawaha, or mine ye engineers, Yawaha, or movie papa when Yamaya near the street is sooner. They are about Yawasi a check, you hear him walk a crap.
All right. So he's still in hospital. When they fall ill, they have to resort to so many means to try to get better, which is not good for them. She also shared an experience, says recently one of her friends fell from a motorcycle and they've not been able to take the person to get proper treatment. All these things are happening on the streets, and until she sees change in these areas, she's not going to vote. And I remember also then now person who answer now I can say, okay, this year 2024, me vote.
Voting they me go to there, but
what's the voting when you're there?
Me vote.
We be voting. Okay.
But maybe I don't know the Ukraine and yet I omo asaf. If you have one, yeah, now Pokra no more Pamir. Yeah, pray. Say, Serena, very funny boy. Yes,
okay. So he says that they are tired. They've been through a lot. They're sleeping on the street that doesn't give them anything. And if anything, AMA and the others are just disturbing them. They are not having rest at all. It's your civic responsibility. All right, medase. So we've heard the cries of these first-time voters on the streets. Obviously, life on the streets is not easy at all. And we are hoping that as the elections are getting close, because we have 3 months more to go, we hope that the government will hear their cries, their woes, and come to their help, because these ones, or these young ones, are obviously going through a lot. We came to you from the Kwame Nkrumah circle right here in Accra. My name is Lois Lademi, but before I leave you, let me say a very big thank you to my sponsors, Star Ghana Foundation, Youth Bridge Foundation, Petrosol Platinum Energy. Let me also say a very big thank you to the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, CIMA, together with the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants, the German Ozone Medical Center, and to Shopbox Technologies for making this conversation possible. I will see you same time in your area very soon. But until then, it's me and my people saying bye-bye. Enka bye-bye and Shomwe. Bye-bye. We'll see you soon.
How's your Friday going so far? For our last conversation here on the AM show, let's talk about Koa Impact Limited. And Koa Impact Limited are producers of the Koa Natural Fruit Juice, 100% extract from cocoa. In the studio with me this morning is Sarah Mills, Marketing and Product Development Manager. Mohammed Awal Sadiq is Commercial and Business Manager. To tell us more about Koa, the 100% extract from cocoa. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the program. I want to start with Sarah because you're in orange and I love that color. Sarah, introduce yourself to us and tell us about COA.
As you rightly said, my name is Sarah Mills and I lead marketing and product development at COA. COA Impact Ghana Limited. So COA Impact is a Ghanaian Swiss company that upcycles the...
Ghanaian Swiss?
Yes, it's a Ghanaian Swiss. It's a joint venture. So we upcycle the previously discarded white fleshy part around the cocoa bean into our product, COA Natural. It's 100% natural, contains no preservatives, no additives, and no added sugars. Yes.
Mohammed, what are the health benefits of this drink?
Yeah.
And while you explain that, may I?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, thank you.
Go on. So just like Sarah said, at COA, we tell the story of the cocoa fruit beyond just the cocoa bean. We tell the story beyond just the chocolates and everything. People will be surprised why the color of this is not dark chocolate or something. This is what we do. So
tastes good.
Great. No sugar, no preservative, no additive. So you'll see that this is a product that is entirely natural and very refreshing as well. So the health benefits, this is really rich in potassium and magnesium, very good for your heart as well, cholesterol levels, and very good source of energy.
Okay.
Yeah.
We understand there's something happening from the 14th to the 17th. Tell us about that. I don't think I'm going to stop sipping because it's really very good. You should try it.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, tell us more.
Okay, so it's the Made in Ghana fair organized by Joy. Yeah. And as the event is themed Made in Ghana, COA, and for that matter, our product COA Natural is all about made in Ghana. So on surface value, the product we make is proudly made in Ghana here in rural Ghana. So we have two main factories. One has a 250 tonnage capacity in Asena Krofum in the central region, and the second has a 2,500 tons capacity in Akemachias in the eastern region. And it's from these factories that we process the pulp, the previously discarded pulp, into the cocoa fruit juice. And so in processing it, we just extract about 25% of the pulp from the beans because farmers need a certain percentage of the pulp to process the beans for the natural fermentation. That's the likes of the chocolates and all of that. So we make sure to just extract enough and then leave enough for the farmers. And so by doing this, we pay farmers extra income. And we have a number of farmers. We currently work with over 10,000 smallholders, cocoa farmers in rural Ghana. And it's with these farmers that we are making this delicious product that you can't seem to have enough of.
Right.
Yes.
Mohammed, tell us about the sustainability or how this helps the sustainability of the cocoa industry.
Yeah, so Sarah just talked about the extra income to the farmers. We have partnership with these over 10,000 farmers. So what we do, it comes with training, it comes with agro-services support to the farmers, and it comes with a lot of education. So we are in constant communication with these farmers. At the end of the day, we want to have a sustainable cocoa industry. And as we communicate closely with them, we are able to know the challenges on the ground, and we team. It's a collective responsibility for us and our partners because these farmers are really big stakeholders when it comes to what we do. So we make sure that we constantly communicate with them, we train them, we give them the necessary things they need to be able to sustain themselves on the farm.
I don't taste sugar. Okay. I don't taste or perceive any preservatives. So really I can attest that it tastes very natural in my mouth. So yeah. And I want to know how much this is going for. How much is this?
Okay, so that bottle, the 350 ml from us, sells for 40 cedis. And then the box, which is 3 liters, sells for 200 cedis.
So this is the box. 3 liters.
Yes, 3 liters.
And you can keep this in your fridge. It comes with
a tap, a dispenser
so
other
you
side.
can open it and pour yourself some refreshing juice. For 40 Ghana cedis, you get this cute bottle. It's glass, not plastic. I like that it's in a glass bottle. And it's the COA Natural Cocoa Fruits Juice for you. Final words before we go, Sarah.
Yeah, so let me just add a bit more to the sustainability bit of what COA does. So the sustainability bit is more of what we do, how we do it, and who we do it with. So Awal has spoken more of who we do it with. So what we do is basically the fact that we upcycle cocoa fruit juice, and this was a discarded waste. And when we know cocoa being discarded has carbon imprints on the environment and all of that. So by upcycling it, we reduce the carbon footprint. Yeah. And then as at 2024, as of today, we have upcycled about 1,000 tons of the cocoa pulp that was previously discarded. So you can imagine the number of carbon emissions that we have helped to reduce. And I also mentioned how we do it. So we use our innovative community mobile processing unit. It is solar powered. And with this machine, we are able to process the fruits remotely. Yeah, so basically that's what we do. Yeah.
Well, you have the final word now, Mohammed.
Yeah, so I will just tell
brief for me.
Yeah, your viewers come from 14th to 17th. You have the opportunity to taste this. It's for free tasting, and everybody will have the opportunity to say the wow, just like you are saying it after tasting this product. Please come, and those of you who are interested in doing business with us, we are available from the 14th to 17th. Let's talk about distribution. Let's talk about partnerships. We are very much open to all this on that day.
That there is Mohammed Awal Siddiq, Commercial and Business Manager for COA Natural Cocoa Fruit Juice. And we also had Sarah Mills, Marketing and Product Development Manager. Folks, this is our show for today. Thank you so much for staying with us. Happy Friday, everyone. From me and COA, we'll see you again on Monday. Cheers.
Cheers.